All right. Just like that, we're live. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, whether you're watching this live or watching it back. Appreciate you being here. Just getting fully set here. Ooh, side cam is working, or side browsers to make sure. Thumbs up, Morantz. What up? What up? Yes, sir. Drop a like. Thank you for being here. Appreciate that. Yeah, what a time, guys. What a time to be alive. Am I right? I mean, it's been a kind of wacky week for me because I was off yesterday. So it's like weird. It feels like Monday, but it's also Thursday. But it's also like, I don't know. Just you just feel like off a little bit. Like nothing's wrong. I just feel like off. Like I don't know. Everything's fine though. So that's what's one of those things. Just kind of chilling, just trying to do the small things, and yeah, gotta keep consistent with the stream. And here we are. I was gonna run it last night, but I wasn't able to. So I was like, all right, gotta do the Thursday stream. And I don't know if you guys saw earlier in the week. I was like, all right, so TBD for the second stream, right? But is this the one I used? Yeah, I think this is the one I used. Live now. Gotta tweet it out real quick. Stuck and more on YouTube. I think the Twitter algo actually knows when you put like YT. I could be wrong though, but that's why I don't ever put YouTube YT to try to get around it. It might be smart enough to still know to be like, because the algorithm structured where they don't want, from what I read about it at least, right? They don't want people clicking and going outside, so that's why they're trying to push like, oh, streaming on X now, right? But that's also why you always see me do it like this, and then I'll put like the actual stream in the one below. But yeah, just learn as I go, just like everyone else out there, right? I mean, I've seen the big talk right now seems about like failure delivers, and I'll be honest, I've kind of been out of the loop these last few days. It's kind of been a busy time, crazy. Things have been all over the place, but everyone's busy, right? So no excuses. But where was I? Okay, but yeah, no. So I haven't been reading too much. I've been seeing some things, glancing over them, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna quickly go ahead and get this out or get this out sent to myself to my email because those of you who know, say I've said it before, I'll say it again, like throughout the day. What I'll do for myself is I'll just email myself some stuff throughout the day, just like, all right, this is gonna be a good thing to cover on the stream, right? Or even when I'm not doing a stream, I'm like, all right, this is gonna be covered. This is a good thing to cover during the stream because why not? Why not, right? And looking at the dailies, I mean, we had, well, let's look at the 1 day chart. After another down morning, a little run up, little sideways actions midday, and then closing towards the high of the day and actually touching the high of the day around 318, 317, right? But those of you that know me, no, of course, I'm not in the business of giving financial advice, but also that I generally am a long-term investor and don't really focus on the short term, worry about the short term too much. So I really try not to look at the stock too much every day because you just drive yourself crazy with it a little bit if you're watching like right up down, one tick, two ticks. But don't get me wrong, during periods like this, I'm watching pretty frequently out throughout the day because it's action packed, right? And then this little period here too. But when we've kind of gotten back into this, I'm like, kind of back to business as usual, right? But Annie, thanks for being first. Appreciate you being here. Sharon, hello. Thanks for being here. We also got Michael. Hi, Tetron. Richard Newton's 2 latest videos are very insightful on potentially predicting the price action for GME. Have you seen them yet? If so, what are your thoughts? Michael, I have not, as I just mentioned, a little bit out of the loop as of late. So I do probably, maybe we'll check them out. I don't know. I kind of watch them here and there. It's hard because I'm trying to put my own stuff together, but at the same time, I do like to get everyone else's opinions. And more lately, I've been going on Super Stonk again. I kind of shied away from it, I guess, just because I've spent a lot of time on X, but trying to get some information from everywhere because there's people everywhere talking about GameStop, talking about various things in the markets, and it's good to get all kinds of perspectives. So, Technics Trader, what up? Thanks for being here. Hit the like button. Yes, sir. Michael, you know what's up. Rants in the house. Technics in the house. Sharon, Annie, we got the whole gang. Let's go. Hit the like button. Confidential. Thank you very much. What up, Tetron? Pepitoshi, hope you're doing well. Thanks for being here. Glad to find something decent to watch. Hey, Endgame. I'm trying to put out a decent product. That's all I can say. And just to keep improving little by little. First day of summer because I can. Thanks for being here. Damn, I think you're right. I didn't even realize that. It's crazy. It's like it's been hot by me for like the last couple weeks, so it's already been like in my mind, right? Like when it hits June, it's summer. That's just my mind at least. To me, like spring is more like March, April, May. When it hits June, it's summer. I don't care what the calendar says, right? But technically speaking, I think you are correct. Today is the first day. Glad to find something decent to watch. Yes, sir. First day of summer. Yep. Hey, you beautiful people. I love Jimmy. Can't stop. What's up? Fresh Maker. What up? What up? Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, no, it's even here's it darker in here. Oh, I don't have this light on. Hopefully that helps a little bit. But yeah, definitely, not as much to talk about, I'd say, today than maybe some previous streams where things aren't as like action packed right now. Like, OMG, what's happening, right? So maybe some of the traders have left, not pulling up to the stream right now, but that's all right. That's all right. I appreciate you guys being here. So obviously, one, the price up, like uptrend, is it staying kind of like? Those of you who know me also know I'm not a big TA guy, but can we kind of say the uptrend is staying here? If we close up again tomorrow, I think you could say, generally speaking, that this uptrend's still alive. But then again, not a TA expert, just drawing one line on the screen doesn't really necessarily mean anything. But just to be able to still look at the chart, right, and see a general uptrend, because then also you could do the same line right here, right? And then also probably much more efficient indicator. And you can say, oh, it's already below, right? So it really depends where you draw it. But a much more efficient indicator could possibly be looking like relative strength. Some people look at on-balance volume. On-balance volume, I'm not as familiar with. And RSI and like MACD, like I got some general knowledge, but not enough where I'm going to use it and go, oh, like this is the big move that's coming, right? But again, as a long-term holder, I don't worry about it too much, right? And I'll do, dabble a little bit now here and there. I'm getting back, I wouldn't say into trading, but just looking for opportunities where, okay, IV is really high on GameStop right now, and I believe in the long term, so maybe this is an opportunity to sell a put, right? Whereas, so generally speaking, not even just like GameStop, it's always, again, generally, that you want to sell a put, or sorry, sell options in general, right? Whether you want to sell calls or puts, that's up to you. But if you're selling, like, you want to sell cash secured puts, you'd want to do that in a time where IV is high because you're going to be able to capture the most premium. Not that you necessarily have to do it at that point, but just saying like the most to gain is there, so to speak. Whereas when volatility is low, like if you're looking, okay, I want to buy a call option at some point, you would want to look for a time, and I'm just obviously like the price very much is an impact on like either of those trades, but just looking at it from an IV perspective, with implied volatility, you would want to buy an option when implied volatility has fallen off because it basically means that this less volatility is being priced into it. Therefore, the options prices have come down. Whereas like right in here, when you buy an option right in here, you're paying a massive premium. And that's how you see, where is it over here? I saw a couple people talking about how there's an insane amount. So the options expiring this week, right? This was the week originally DFE's shares were going to expire, right? And then he exercised, right? Was that last week? I don't know. All the weeks are blending together. Yeah, he exercised at the end of last week. So there's still a lot of options out of the money, right? But when you look at the particular ones, do we have them here? Let's see. So the 120 up to 800. What the heck? Wow, this is crazy. What is... Okay, we'll go over to Yahoo. All reliable, right? Yahoo Finance. But what I'm just trying to show you is right here, right? When you look at all strike prices, look at the calls, look at all the way up here, $125 call option. Open. What I just do? Okay. Open interest, 28,000 in volume, right? Which is very odd because it's literally trading 1 to 2, like bid ask, and it's like it's literally worthless and it's expiring tomorrow, right? And then there's theories, right, that the reason this call option has so much volume and so much open interest is because, well, the one side of it is there's people who are buying in, right, to finish my point. When the price was back here, right, maybe up here or up here, people, oh, it's running, right? Probably more so in here, I would say, than here. But certainly some of them could have been here, where the price starts running, people go, oh, it's going to 120, or oh, it's going to keep going, right? This thing's going to pop off in the short term, so I'm going to go in and run and grab a call option, but I don't want to spend a lot of money on the call option, so I'm going to buy the cheapest one. So when you go with that approach, you have to go all the way up the chain, right? Because at this point in time back here, like right up here, this is when, or even like I think it was this night, when there wasn't this many call options written, right? Because prior to this, GameStop hadn't been at this level in a long time. So call options were not written that high. But when it started going up and up and up, right? The gamma ramp is building. What do the market makers do? They make the market. So they started writing more and more options, right? And they wrote options all the way up to 125. So people start running in, oh, I want to grab some options, right? And the problem with that is, because implied volatility is so high, I mean, it was still so high on this particular one, right? But that's because it's way up there. But my point being, people are paying like $200-$300 for this call option, right? Those who aren't familiar, every call option is representative of 100 shares. So when it's 2 cents, that's a $2 option as of right now. So some people bought this for 200 or 300 at that time because it was priced in how much volatility there was, and then that volatility basically made that option worth so much. So anyone that sold that call option would have collected the premium and then held their shares, right? But then also, market makers sell options. I'm talking about from an individual perspective. You'd have to have shares. But with that, right here, you look back, you see particularly, right? Like, it was written on the 20th. So May. Interesting. It was written here. Well, that's at least from the first chart. So maybe it could have been back here, right? But at least per Yahoo Finance, that's when it looks like it was written. But right here, right, you see it make a huge move from like 125 all the way up at a peak of like 650 to, and then close the day at like 567. And that's on the 6th, which is right here. So you just see, like, once the stock makes a big aggressive move in a short period of time, it just like inflates the option. But GameStop was still nowhere near 125. So that's where you got to be careful with options in times of very high volatility and just a lot of volume in general in the stock and just attention, because that's where people get excited, you get your emotions involved, right? You're like, oh, I really want to buy it, I really want to make a ton of money on this thing in the short term. And the unfortunate reality of it is some people got burned. Some are saying could go to 125 tomorrow. Just kidding. I don't think anyone's really saying that. With the stock though, you never truly know in the short term. That's all I'm saying. Like, I think the percentage chance of that happening is 0.0000001, but it's not zero, right? So, but the point I'm trying to make is, it could, like, the open interest could potentially be that happening, right? Where people are kind of rushing into it, getting excited about it. You see a ton of people bought the $100 calls, but then even here, the $50, there's 47,000 in open interest, another 48,000 at 40, another 19,000 at 35. Not to mention all the open interest in between, right? And it's 65,000 at 30, 37,000 at 25. So there's a decent swing there. But the other theory is, and I have to read more about it, is, and I just see it floating around again, I've kind of just been glancing at things, is that there's some suspicious things going around, or taking place rather, in terms of failure to delivers, ETFs, and then also call option contracts, because they could write the contract, oh, we wrote the contract, so we need 100 shares, right? We're just going to borrow them. And I'm explaining in very simple terms, but when you just read about how deep some of this stuff goes in market mechanics and just the power that market makers have, it really can blow your mind and be like, it's not impossible, right? And a lot of them are just theories, and you got to really, really dig and really, really try and understand. And that's why I'm trying to be very clear that I haven't dug enough yet where I'm going to say, oh, that's definitely what's happening, but I see it being talked about, right? So that's something I do have to get more caught up on. But with that being said, though, the options chain is written like this now because when you look back at this period, right, January 2021, when this happened, call options were written, I think, all the way up to $800. And again, this was split adjusted. So this peak right here, 120, was actually like 480 prior to the split, or 482, 483, whatever the case. But options were written all the way up to 800. So when they write them up for that period of time, they write it up for months ahead. So there were $800 calls, like, all the way up, I think, until 2022. And then because we haven't had a big move like that in a while, they didn't write that many options. But now, like, when you look at another chain, right? Like, you look at the August monthly, you have the same thing. You have all the way up to 125. And still, the fact that these premiums are this high is actually kind of insane. And that they went up this much today is also kind of crazy. But it's a home run play, right? Because if you think about it, it's like go broke or go big. I guess that's the best way to go. Go big, go home. But because if you think about it, if you buy this call option for, let's just round up and say a dollar, right? So you spent $100 on this. If GameStop is anything below 125 on expiry, you don't make any money. But if GameStop is at $200 at expiry, that call option's worth 75. So you just turned $100 into $7,500, and that doesn't even account for data, which is just pretty much time decay, or I guess it'd be delta rather, because what happens is, there's extra premium involved because this call option 25 plus the premium 25.73 here, which is like the current midpoint. So what also could happen, right, if you were to buy that 125 call, and please be very, very cautious and just know like you're buying a lottery ticket if you buy a call option that far in the money. That's just the reality of it. But just like the lottery, sometimes it hits, right? Sometimes you win it big and then scratch off. I don't know. But if you were to buy that option and just say GameStop doubles like within a 1 day period, you'll see what we saw back here, which I was just showing, where that call option will make a big move. And you could theoretically, like, I think that's why some people play it too. You could theoretically capture some profit there, right? Or make a big trade, so to speak, because just during this day, right, the 6th, going right up here, just because it was such a massive move, like the amount of volume, volatility, and just people looking at stock caused that quick move. But if you hung on, like, you literally lost it all the next day. And that's the reality of options, guys. That's all I'm saying here. So just proceed with caution if you are messing with options in any which way. So, oh, let me make sure I got the all chat here. Don't want to miss anything. Appreciate you guys being here for real. Let's see. I'm in GME as a long-term play, but like you say, recent price does make it interesting. Regardless, slow and steady wins the GME race. It's true, Michael. Very well said. And agreed. Volatility will jack the price big time. Exactly. Boom, boom, boom. They're on. Thanks for being here. On my way to Palm Springs for a video shoot, giving away $500 worth of gifts and prizes, all in the name of GameStop. Rance, that's awesome, man. That's super awesome. I didn't even realize you were doing that. I apologize for not keeping up with things, but that's sick. Ryan, what's up? What's up with it, dude? Just chilling, trying to get myself together. By the way, guys, I'm gonna stream next week, but the following week, um, maybe that Monday, the 5th, I'll be able to stream. Is that the 5th? No, it's the 1st. But then I'm going to be away for 2 weeks. So I'm going to try and do a quick live stream, quick video here and there while I'm on vacation. But I'm going to be in the great country of Croatia. So that'll be very exciting. Not the whole time, most of the time. For a wedding and just vacationing. So that'll be very exciting. So there'll be a 2 week span. I'm kind of gone. Don't be too worried. I'll put it out on Twitter. I'll put it on a YouTube thing. But also kind of post quickly when I can. And Ryan, quick side note. How about them Oilers, man? How about them Oilers? Connor McDavid. Dude, this guy wants it. He's hungry. Like, what a series this is all of a sudden, right? After being like, it's kind of boring, but Mertz only owns 51 shares. Talk about a will. Hey, Gustavo, that's just what they say, man. If you know, you know. But thanks for being here. Are we still down on McJesus and Drysdale? Yeah, no, exactly, bro. Exactly. I just read your chat now. Well, Tetron and Jamie Leadus. DB, what up, what up? I know, it's crazy. I can't believe I was down there. Now I look at him like he's literally McJesus for a reason, right? So exciting. That place is going to be rocking and rolling. Edmonton's going to be going nuts on Friday. I'm excited to watch the game tomorrow. I'm going to watch with some buddies. But, on the theory of swaps, right, we could go, where did I have it over here? So, I don't know if you guys saw this. I don't know if this has been updated since, but can we please stop sharing Richard Dude's videos on his T plus timeline theories? He's incorrect on episode 338. And again, I haven't watched these, so I'm just sharing it because I see people are putting it out there. And I see a lot of his stuff being put around, and he's very transparent in what he says, that he's just trying to solve the puzzle. He's trying to learn. So I don't think he's saying, oh, this is that, right? Like, that's so not his style, right? But so you see why I'm showing this is that it's not as simple as like, oh, it's just T plus 35. It's T plus 2 trading days, normal settlement period, which is now T plus 1 because of the changes that took place, which is really nice for, like, if you want to sell stock and then buy another stock, or you just want your funds settled quicker. It just makes sense. I think it should really get to be T plus 0, but we'll see about that, right? T plus 6 trading days is the extended settlement for market makers. So yeah, I don't think that's been adjusted anyway. T plus 35 calendar days is an additional, in that very key difference. T plus 6 and T plus 1, those are business days. This is calendar days. Period for market makers if they do not meet the T plus 6 failure to deliver deadline and they're providing bona fide market maker activities. Crime. It is not an extension of 35 additional calendar days. It is the extension of up to 35 calendar days since the transaction. Again, this is not stack. Mendel University paper. See, that's what I really have to read through too, because I've seen that's what's been floating around out there a lot also. So, again, just throwing this out there because in case you guys haven't heard, I encourage all of you to read about it. And again, I have to do my homework. I've been, like, if the teacher saw me right now, is like, Tetron, did you do your homework? I'd be like, my dog ate it, my bad. So I've been slacking, guys. I've been slacking. That's the bottom line. So bought more to buy, bought more today. We'll buy more tomorrow. D, that's awesome. Happy to see you here. Thanks for being here. I post happy me. Rips, hope I post happy me. Dips, I buy. Jay, what up, what up? You guys are so awesome in chat for real. My friend is out there right now fixing up her place. Sharon, that's awesome. That's great. I'm super excited to go. My grandfather was born there, my grandmother as well. So yeah, it's gonna be cool to see kind of the native land, so to speak. But hello, Anton, what's up? Or Auntie? Yeah, right, Auntie or yeah, Auntie. I think aren't you from Croatia? I could be wrong. I thought you might have said that at one point. But in touch on, I've been following Jimmy Saga for about a year now, and I really appreciate everything you're doing. The way explain concepts makes everything super clear and easy to understand. Teacher 25, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that comment very much. I'm really trying to, just explain things to people, covered everything as accurately as possible. I really try not to get too hyped. I can't help it sometimes, right? I think we all get a little bit excited here and there, but trying to just cover everything and explain everything as accurately as possible. And at the end of the day, I don't think anybody truly knows how exactly this whole saga plays out, right? I think I know what I believe that it will ultimately lead to this evolve. See, guys, I can't talk today. I don't know what it is, but I think ultimately GameStop will evolve and they will succeed, and whatever's underneath the surface will bubble up if they succeed in whatever they do next in terms of their acquisitions, business adjustments, or whatever the case. But yeah, just trying to cover it as accurately as I can in real time. And also lately too, you kind of bring up a point I wanted to make, like seeing so much drama and so many there's always drama, right? That's the internet. There's always going to be drama, but I don't know. I just I'm not saying I'm perfect. I haven't been involved in things before, like in the past, but I don't know. I don't have the energy for it. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not gonna go arguing with this person on X. Like, just agree to disagree. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But at the same time, I'm not, hating on anyone that wants to go head to head, because there's a lot of nonsense out there too. That's also a next point I want to make. Like, everything you read, you should do your best to check it or take it with a grain of salt or analyze it further and just think, okay, well, why did this person say this? Where do they get this information? What could this mean? Try and poke holes in it, right? Could there be some flaws within this information in whatever shape or form? And it doesn't matter if it's a Reddit post, an X post, my YouTube video, my YouTube channel, right? Anyone out there, like, you should always be looking for different things. And then, hey, I think you got this wrong here, and here's why. And you could have like a respectable back and forth. So, and also, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, though, there's gonna be people who just use emotions both ways, where it's just like, oh, GameStop's a shit stock. What's that new article going around? It's a dumpster fire, right? It's just funny how the people that are supposed to be the financial analysts use emotional based headlines, right? Like, instead of, oh, well, this is why it's bad, that's why it's bad. Just, it's clearly a dumpster fire, and all those silly meme traders keep going in. And another thing I have to read up on, as you guys can tell, I'm slacking, is the whole Archegos situation. I thought I saw, what was it here? What's going on with this, guys? And also, I did get the whole thing pulled up right here. We could read some more about it and see if GameStop shows up anymore there. So, Berkshire shows to me a transcript of the January 27, 2021 chat between him and former Archegos chief financial officer Patrick Halligan about the GameStop short squeeze. Halligan is Huang's co-defendant in the trial. Is our long book going GameStop on us? Halligan asked in the chat. I have no idea what's happening. The exchange goes on. During the time, did you yourself refer to these retail investors like being like a biker gang? So Tomata Halligan is the co-defendant, right? Because that was the former CFO. Wait, chat between him and Halligan. Halligan, former CFO and co-defendant. So he's saying, is the book going GameStop on us? I have no idea what's happening. Tomita responds. The exchange goes on. During this time, did you yourself, God, why can't I read today, guys? You yourself refer to these retail investors being like a biker gang. I don't remember that, but I think I just saw a document that said that I said that. Now the judge intercedes. Do you remember saying that? I don't really remember, no. Berkey takes the question back, asking, do you remember calling them a band of pirates? I don't remember saying that, but as I sit here now, I remember thinking of them in that way. What does that even mean? I don't remember saying that, but I do remember thinking of that. It's not entirely clear where Berkey is going with this, but the defense has brought up GameStop periodically to suggest that Archegos' secrecy about its portfolio was driven not by any effort to manipulate stocks, but by fears of being targeted in a short squeeze by meme stock investors. Please give me a break, those fraudsters. But let's see, right? Again, I didn't read through this whole thing, and I see that this is like this huge, like mega thread of everything going on. So I thought what I could just do, right? I could just scroll through it all. Okay, let's see now. GameStop. Let's see how many times that comes up. So this is the first one. This is the one we just read. Let's see. Okay. Berkey is trying to suggest meme stock investors drove the January 2021 surge in GSX. Melvin Capital, the hedge fund famously targeting the short squeeze over GameStop, also had a big short position in GSX. Isn't it a fact that the root cause of the spike on the 27th wasn't Archegos, but the retail investors who were buying GSX and causing it to rip? Berkey says. I don't have any basis for thinking it was those retail investors who caused that. Tomita responds. Interesting. Perky presents a chat message from January 26th in which Tomita comments, GameStop halted again, LOL, and describes the meme stock investors as almost like a biker gang. That's an interesting analogy. Then Berkey shows a message from the next day in which Tomita and Taniguchi discuss the high price at which they're selling GSX. QBDD, Taniguchi writes, meaning quadruple billion-dollar day. This is crazy. That's an acronym they're using within. Hey, bro, QBDD day, eh? This is crazy, Tomita responds. Berkey suggests Tomita was talking about the crazy meme stock phenomenon, but Tomita says he disagrees with that interpretation. I thought it was hedge funds covering, Tomita says of GFX spike. The band of pirates and biker gangs. That was the reference to GME and the main stocks that Wall Street Bets was targeting. And then you look at the GME report and you look, most of the buying volume was not shorts covered. And it was mostly, having to do with market makers covering the gamma, right? Some of it was retail interest. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not even familiar with GSX. What is GSX even, right? Let's start with that. This is some kind of gold. It's just GSX. Maybe I'm missing something here. Is that just like an index? It seems like some kind of bond, because when you look at like the Archegos report, right? Where do I have it here? Okay. So I've touched on this in the past too, but touch on it again because maybe some of you haven't seen it. But it's interesting, after all these years, they're finally looking at it. Finally, and this is how the American court system works, right? Everything takes years and years and years, and they're going to drag it out as long as they can before this guy actually gets in any kind of trouble. And who knows? Maybe he'll just be like, oh, no more U.S. securities for you. $100 fine. You're good. No worries. But right towards the end here, and you can obviously read through this, and there's definitely information within, but acting in the direction of the head of the fund, I traded to increase the prices of names in which Archegos held long positions and reduce the prices of securities in which the fund held short positions. I did this by, for example, buying large amounts of stock when the price dropped in response to negative news, or trading pre-market when I knew the fund's activity would have a greater price impact. So, in case you're thinking, there's no way suspicious activity actually goes on Wall Street, right? You can just read that right there. This is just one example, right? But then also, Archegos used security-based swaps to gain exposure to these securities while concealing the true size of the fund's positions from the market and our trading counterparties. So let's read this whole thing here, right? From March 2020 through March 2021, I was head trader at Archegos Capital Management. During this time, I and others executed trades that allowed the fund to amass market power and certain securities traded on the U.S. exchanges. Archegos used security-based swaps to gain exposure to these securities while concealing the true size of the fund's positions from the market and our trading counterparties. Once Archegos gained market power in these securities, I and others used this power to trade in such a way as to artificially manipulate the prices of the securities. Acting at the direction of the head of the fund, Mr. Bill Huang, I traded to increase the prices of names in which Archegos held long positions, reduce prices of securities in which the fund held short positions. I did this by, for example, buying large amounts of stock when the price dropped in response to negative news, or trading pre-market when I knew the fund's activity would have a greater impact on price. And that's also why you see a lot of volatility in the pre-market with GameStop, just generally speaking. But also, there's no halts in the pre-market, right? So that's something to keep in mind too, because when you look at past few months here, you see also the highest it was was exactly $80, which, you know, some say, like, it's pretty interesting. It's that exact number. Something to do with some kind of algo, potentially, allegedly. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. But you could see in the pre-market, like, how crazy it got that one day. It was literally up over 130% that pre-market. It was crazy. I remember waking up, like, it was literally that meme of the guy, like, I think Roaring Pika posted it first, and then DFE even referencing the streamer. He's like, and it's just like mega green candle, like crazy, right? But even back here, right, during this run up, we saw again massive pre-market volume. Or so this case was post-market volume, right? And then same thing though, it's extended trading hours, so it's same kind of point there. I manipulate the prices of these securities in order to influence others in the market to buy or sell the securities in ways that would benefit Archegos' key positions and increase Archegos' purchasing power through variation margin. In addition to manipulating the price of certain securities, I also made misrepresentations to Archegos' trading counterparties. And this is where Credit Suisse got stuck left holding the bag. And then on top of it, Credit Suisse, you know, was already in bad shape. So that really hurt them, set them back even further. And ultimately what happened was, it wasn't like UBS was like, great buying opportunity. Let's go ahead and just buy out Credit Suisse and become one massive swing Swiss bank. No, the Swiss government was like, you guys are taking them over because they are too big to fail. We cannot allow that to happen. It's going to decimate our economy. It's not going to be good for the people. It's not going to be good for the, it's mostly, I think, even the institutions, right? And just the whole economy is going to get slammed by this. So, like, okay, UBS, prepare to take them on, right? And it was a little bit of an elongated process, and there's a lot of details to go through with that. But UBS wasn't like, oh, yay, we get to buy Credit Suisse, right? And basically, as you see here, they were misrepresenting the positions to the counterparties. And then when the counterparties realized that, it was like a race for the door to like take away their collateral. And pretty much Credit Suisse was the main party that got left stuck holding the bag. And that's where some of the theories come around, right? And again, read more into this, take this with a grain of salt. But some of the theories are that Archegos was short GameStop and it was a part of these custom basket swaps, which we'll get to in a couple minutes here. And with that, it was a situation where then Credit Suisse got the bag tossed to them, and now the bag got tossed to UBS. Then that's where you had that whole theory a little while back, right? Which didn't come to fruition because it was like, where did all these options come from, right? And it turned out to be Roaring Kitty, right? Forget GameStop, forget GameStop. This is my miscellaneous section, right? So remember this anonymous 4chan post? Like, oh yeah, that's why they issued shares. They're doing it because they're looking to cover their position. You know, they didn't want to be short GameStop. They got forced to take Credit Suisse, who got the position from Archegos, right? And dilution, so the Swiss team can exercise freely without dealing with SEC insider trading restrictions. Friendly deal to do an ATM offering has to be made for us to close the Huang position. Sorry, NDAs prevent me from revealing exact positions or giving details. And a friend said this to me, and I realized he was so right, and why I was very skeptical of this post. And also because through this whole saga, there's been so many dates, so many, oh, well, this is going to happen because of that, and then this, and just lots of tinfoil, right? So I've become very immune. I'm like, no, right? Like, I will believe it when I see it. And a lot of this open interest, right? The 21 option, right? The June 21 in particular, which are the options expiring tomorrow. A lot of this here was Roaring Kitty. And then in general, GameStop always has a lot of options written for, right? And all stocks tend to have a decent amount of options, but GameStop in particular. And, you know, again, the reasons for that, you can speculate as to things going on with FTDs and then T plus 35 and, you know, it goes all down the line, right? And just how a failure delivers can then be satisfied with options in funky ways, right? It goes really deep, but keep taking notes, keep trying to explain it as best as possible. But this, you know, I think turned out to be all nonsense because also had another offering after that. And then obviously this was prior to most of this position right here, right? 120,000 of these were pretty much Roaring Kitty when this idea came out. But that's where the background of it kind of is. So, and also I'm going to quickly change the stream. Just realize. And Archegos. Is that how you spell it? I don't even know. Because I realized that's what we're talking about here. I was like, I want to talk. I was like, what else am I going to talk about today besides GameStop? And then I was like, I can't remember. Archegos. Okay. And now we just lost our spot like a bozo. What page was I? Wait, if I go back on my side stream here, I can see what page I was just on. 182. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I spelled Archegos right. And Archegos collapse. All right, and yeah, let's hit the chat real quick, and then we'll keep going here. Again, I appreciate you guys being here very, very much. And I have a lot more to read, guys. I want to be perfectly clear. I'm just trying to present the information as best I can, but there's still so much to read. And by the way, what I'm showing you here, if you just look up like Archegos case, like this control number, you can read it for yourself. And it was filed the 28th of June, 2022. So when they blew up was like March 2021. So, and then some speculate that's why we had the March 2021 trading activity that we saw and a lot of volume with GameStop again after January 2021. And it seemed like, oh yeah, this thing's over, right? Psych. But so this filing is almost 2 years ago at this point, and now they're just getting to having the actual trial and more questioning and on and on and on, right? So, okay, let's get caught up here. I got to be quick. Damn, you guys are quick in the chat. Hey, Tetron, I've been following. Be nice to Richard. He's a nice guy. No, Cliff. Don't get me wrong. I think Richard is a fantastic guy. I think he's very polite and he's very, like I love his approach where he's very like I'm curious, like I'm just trying to cover it best I can. So don't get me wrong. Like I have a lot of respect for Richard. I'm not going to say I absolutely agree with every single thing he says, but it's okay to disagree. It's okay to agree to disagree, but I absolutely respect his work and the time he puts in. And I know he's gone from being a teacher to an administrator, and I think anyone that's helping the next generation, like I have a lot of respect for that. So don't get me wrong here. Super strong post in the cat analysis, please. Charmy, I got you. Keep that in mind, right? But I gotta get through this here. But I'll definitely keep that in mind for later if you stick around. Richard was saying that 35 calendar rule is correct, but based on his data, his way of calculating the date is where the cycle seems to land on. Interesting. Okay, see, that's where I probably shouldn't. Again, I can be clear. I wasn't trying to say anything bad. I was just again trying to get caught up, guys, and just throwing out. I opened up everything like I emailed to myself. Right? I was like, I'm gonna go through it here. So. Very good DD, cat analysis, and super song Reddit. All right, I'll keep an eye out. Yes, all right, Ante, yes, sir. Dude, I'm going. Croatia. Exciting times ahead. I'm very excited to check it out. Yeah, it seems beautiful, right? It really does. What's up, Tetron and GME team? Sub has the boss. What up, what up? GME life. That's right. 4 billion in cash is some dumpster fire. Weirdo Shrine. Exactly, yo, exactly. And, it's funny. I still have a friend who's telling me, like, oh, GameStop's a dead company. All you got to do is go into the store and it's obvious. I'm like, bro, but they have 4 billion in cash. He's like, oh yeah, but the insiders, they know it's going to shit. I'm like, so why aren't they selling? And why have they previously bought shares? And then also, side note, right? I promise we're going to keep going here. Show me another stock that can have a 150% move from its bottom, right? So just 2 months ago, right? You go back to April 20th, special holiday, right? April 20th to now, June 20th. The stock is up 150%. If I told you at that time, GameStop's at that time, right? The stock is at like $10. It's April 20th, 2024, and I told you I'm from the future. 2 months from now, GameStop stock price is going to be up 150%, and they're going to have diluted 120 million shares to raise $3 billion. They would have said, you're crazy. There's no way, right? But that's what happened. And do you really think that demand for shares came from retail investors? I find that to be nearly impossible, to be honest with you, because one, a lot of people have been buying the stock for like over the past several years, right? Dollar cost averaging. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there isn't people who ran in to trade it when Roaring Kitty came back and then volume started picking up, price appreciation started happening, but I don't think it was the same as that last time where it was everyone just figuring it out for the first time. There's a lot of people like myself, and I can't speak for everyone. I can only speak for myself. Where when that run started, I was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna sit back and watch now. This is why I've been accumulating shares, right? And I also sit here today, and I'm like, why wasn't I buying more shares at 10, right? In hindsight, but hindsight's always 20/20. But first, over only 6 trading days, by the way, they raised 933 million on 45 million shares issued, average price of 20.74. See, they announced it here. They announced it's complete only 6 trading days later. They announced it pre-market of a Friday, the post-market the following Friday. So 6 trading days elapses. And then you go to the most recent one, right? Even more impressive. Only 3 trading days. They announced it on a Friday pre-market. And then Tuesday in the post-market that following week, I believe it was, this is the 11th. So they announced it on the 7th, announced it complete on the 11th. Within only 3 days, they were able to complete this offering. And this time it's 75 million shares, average price of $28.49, and now they have 4.15 billion total in cash. And from this equity raise, they got about I'd say about 2 billion or so, a little bit over 2 billion, I think. Maybe about 2.15 roughly. I don't remember off the top of my head here, but point being, there's clearly demand for these shares in some shape or form. And sure, maybe a tiny bit of it's retail, but I find it hard to believe that majority of this demand for shares through two stock share sales, 120 million shares issued, was retail. To me, it seems very evident. I personally believe it was institutions. I don't know if you guys saw my little meme today. Just like busy at work, but I'm like, all right, got to make a quick post on GameStop. By the way, if you guys don't already, follow me on X. I appreciate that very much. And if you could drop a like, if you so choose to. But and this is like my favorite meme right now. Let that sink in, damn it! It's letting it sink outside. I think it's like the funniest thing. But they raised $3 billion in cash by selling 120 million shares through ATM offering and still up 150%. Let that sink in. That demand for shares had to have come from institutions. Nearly impossible to think it's just from retail. So this was a summary of the share offering, and then now they have 962 in cash. Saga's far from over. That's just my opinion, right? But I just don't see in any other way how that could have been, how the price could still be 150%. They dilute 120 million shares into the market, and the price is still held up this strongly, unless there was demand for shares from institutions. And for what reasons and in what shape or form the demand was there, you can decide that on your own. But I'm just saying, like, looking at the simple facts there, there's some kind of demand for it, right? So, and then we'll rotate back. I'll keep going through the chat, and then we're going to rotate back through the Archegos situation. Oh, the poor little helpless shorting headphones. Exactly. It's beautiful. Thank you, bro. Yes, sir. 4 billion cash is dumpster fire. Yeah, exactly. At 4 billion now. And listen, they might not do anything right away. To me, Ryan Cohen talking on, like, as I reflect on it more and more, Ryan Cohen speaking on the conference call, or not conference call, the annual meeting, and he's only spoke very briefly. But part of what he said was, it's been unprecedented, the fiscal and monetary policy we've seen. It's something we haven't seen in like decades. So to me, that's saying, I think he's saying without saying, we see a market crash coming. And when that happens, we're going to be in good financial condition. We're going to be stacked with cash, ready to make a move. And, you know, given also that they've had over $1 billion in cash for a little while now, so they've been well equipped on the balance sheet. It's like baseball, right? You know, the Warren Buffett analogy where it's like, stock picking is like baseball, but there's no called strikes. I think it's the same thing in terms of acquisitions with GameStop. Like, okay, batter up. Nope, not a good pitch. Nope, not a good pitch. Nope, not a good pitch. And just let as many pitches come by as they want, right? And until they're like, okay, this is what we want. We can strike a deal. Boom. And also, you know, it's worth noting that there could have been something in the works, right? I don't know what. I'm not trying to like drive speculation. Oh, I think this was almost going to happen, right? Then it fell through. But think about it. A deal is between two sides. It's between GameStop and whoever they're going to acquire. So whoever's, and valuations across the board, generally speaking, have been pretty high for a while now. And obviously it depends on the market and the particular thing they would have been acquiring. But if the two sides can't come to a deal, then the deal falls through, right? And GameStop, again, has reflected to me, or just, I don't know what the right word is, just basically displayed that we're not going to overpay for something that we are going to acquire in any shape or form. So that's also a good counterpoint. You know, I'll say, oh yeah, I wouldn't be totally opposed to them buying Bitcoin because I like Bitcoin for the long term. But at the same time, I'm okay with them not, because again, I have Bitcoin already on my own outside of GameStop, so we can keep them separate. And people brought up a good point where it's like, I think it was SHF ATM on X. I'm sure you guys have seen him. He said like Ryan Cohen's been very cautious through this whole time and only really holding treasuries. Why would he buy Bitcoin when it's near a 52-week high right now, right? So there's a counter to that. But point being, whatever they acquire, I think it might be a market crash scenario. So we'll see. Or the right opportunity comes up, the right company is willing to sell at the right price, whatever the case. They were looking at a repeat of the 2021 sneeze, two large buy-ins from Ryan Cohen back then, causing large failure delivers and price surge later on. Now Rowan Kitty is on the scene, two large exercises buy-ins. Ryan, it's certainly possible, brother. It's certainly possible. I wouldn't say it's impossible. And I feel like if there were a time for Ryan Cohen to buy, it would be now. I don't think he's purchased since June of last year. Was it June of last year his last stock purchase? I don't know if anyone remembers. I mean, I'm sure someone remembers. I just can't remember off the top of my head here. But with that being said, you know, and I'm sure he pays attention generally what's going on in terms of social media and sentiment. Not a whole lot because, you know, he's got to be working, right? but I would imagine he's keeping an eye on it a little bit. And if there were a time for him to buy shares, I think it's now, because, or within these next couple months, it would really just instill belief that, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I mean, just the fact alone he doesn't sell shares, I think that already displays that belief. But at the same time, it would just show like, okay, I'm going to buy even more. That's how much I believe in myself in going forwards, right? So he's basically betting on himself even more so every time he accumulates more shares of GameStop. Hey, please, when you have time, check out the DD and Supersonic Reddit about cat analysis. All right, I got you, Patel. I got you. We're going to get there. When we go back above 53, Andrew, thank you for being here. But I couldn't tell you, brother. I couldn't tell you. I'm not a big TA guy. Definitely not good at short-term predictions. But it's the type of thing where it could be next week, it could be next month, it could be next year. That's really the reality of it. So T plus 35 came true for Ryan Cohen's purchase in 2021. We'll see what happens this time around. If they're going to naked short, then they can't get upset when everyone else sees their tiny Peters dangling about. I'd rather be skiing. Thank you for being here. That's a pretty funny comment. But yeah, hey, that's the way she goes, right? Hope Croatia can make it out of the Euros group stage. Oh yeah, my friends are talking about that a little bit. My one buddy's Croatian. So is there a Discord for Tetron chat? Can't seem to find a link. Teacher, I set up a Discord a long time ago, but I don't really use Discord. I thought about doing it again, but you got to kind of keep it tidy, and I don't know. I'll think about it. But as of now, I would say no. I set one up. I got like 7 people in it, and this was like maybe a year ago. But I also didn't really use it. You know what I mean? So maybe it's worth it. I don't know. Do you guys think I should? Let me know what you guys think. If you think I should set up a Discord or something like that. But definitely, I promise you, no, like, pay to get in, bro. Oh my God, $100 and you're going to get rich. No, it would absolutely be free. But the problem with that is you gotta fend off the bots, right? I'm gonna be like, no bots, right? No bots, no bots. Then you're gonna be like, you're gonna have like the OnlyFans bots in there. Free nudes, free nudes, free nudes, free nudes, free nudes, right? And then I'm gonna have to clear that out, and I'll figure it all out though. But I'll keep that in mind. I got you. All right, I'm gonna write this down. I gotta write things down. Where's my notepad? All right, so we got Discord, and then for now we're gonna get through Archegos here, and then we're gonna get to Supersonic DD. It's hard, guys, because I always want to hit the chat here at the same time and get through everything. So. Wait, the market is one big scam sale. Hey, weirdo. That's your words, not mine. Haas Clothing Company is GME. Oh, nice. Yeah, I saw you post about them once or twice. I got to look into them more. Add that to the list. Add that to the list. Who is Haas Clothing Company? They seem pretty cool. I don't think prices are even real anymore. It's all hidden on their own systems, stuffed in other securities. That's a fair comment because honestly, sometimes I just say, you know what? It's all really just numbers on the screen when you think about it. When you realize what the DTCC is and how it operates, it's really just numbers on the screen at the end of the day. That's what the whole stock market is. It's just numbers on a screen. And when you see what happened with Berkshire, the glitch, right? And quick side note on that. Have anyone else noticed that the off-exchange volume has been dropping for Berkshire? This was the day of the glitch. It dropped significantly. It bounced back. And then now it's been tailing off daily, right? Also, volume as a whole for Berkshire has been significantly lower ever since the glitch. And then also, if you look back even further, right? If we quickly look here, and I'm going to try and stay on topic. Whoa. Let's go with this chart. Okay, whatever. If you just look at Berkshire volume, right? You can go ahead and look at it yourself. Whoa. All right, whatever. If you look at Berkshire volume, as we have over here, you can see it's dropped off significantly since that glitch day. And then also off-exchange volume has dropped off and we're getting more on-exchange volume again. So what exactly happened? I have a theory that and I'm not the only one, that it has some kind of tie to GME, some kind of connection. Because also the day of the glitch, right? The 7th, the day that GameStop fell pretty significantly right here. I'm just saying it's a possibility. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but whether GameStop's involved or not, there's something odd going on with Berkshire. And also when you look back, the time when Berkshire A's volume started rising was February 2021, and then also when majority of volume started going off exchange was February 2021. So that's just some food for thought there. I'm definitely not the only one that's theorized on this, but on the topic of Berkshire, it's like something with the swaps, some kind of borrow, some kind of hedge, right? I don't know. I can't tell you exactly, but there's something odd with this. There's just something odd. And when you see stuff like this and then you see what happens with Berkshire dropping down 99%, whatever exactly that was, it's like, how does that happen if the market's truly functioning accurately? Unless it's really just fugazi, it's a wazi, it's a woozy. It's just numbers on a screen. That's really the case. So, my man, just having to ask you guys, you ready for GameShare Stop Away? Quest Called Tribe, thank you for being here. Hey, I was born ready. I don't think prices are even real anymore. Hoskos, yep. I strongly believe GameStop is evolving to a holding company under the guidance of the company. Its holds true stock value could easily be 180 low a share. Tinfoil theory. Teacher, yeah, listen, if they evolve into a holding company, and I really think that's why they raised this cash, because that's ultimately their plan, but they're going to take their time and wait for the right opportunity before they execute. And how that plays out, I couldn't see. If I see another theory, I'm going to puke. Doozy, that's fair. It's one of those, like, it's fun a little bit, but then also it gets, like, after a while, you're like, oh my God, so much tinfoil, right? So I get it. Again, GameStop stock away sounds even better, actually. That does sound pretty good. I'm sure that's what Ryan Cohen is hinting at between the lines. It's certainly possible. It ain't easy being cheesy. It's true. Uh, it's just exciting times for stocks to be honest. 3 years of downtrend and we finally have broken it out of it. Oddly enough, swaps expire soon. DFG returns and the company has $4 billion in cash. Exactly. It's truly an epic saga. And I posted this the other day too, where it's like, whether you love the stock, you're invested in it, you're trading it, you're hating on it, or you're just watching from the sidelines, how do you not look at this story and go, this is the most fascinating thing I've ever seen? Right? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. There's nothing like this, right? It's insane. Time and pressure, boys. Time and pressure. When it pops, we're all going to know, so I don't sweat static. Just sit and wait. Matter of time. Exactly. What are chances Ryan Cohen has to dilute more? Oh, my goodness. Um, Shares in upcoming weeks. Smooth brain question, I know, but new to sub, apologize. He. No, you're good. You're good. I don't think they have to, but could they? I mean, it's not impossible, right? And given that the time the last year, right? To me, the thing that made me very confident is the fact that the stock is still up 150%. Had they announced a dilution back here, who knows? It could have went to $8, $7, and they raised capital that price. They raised significantly less. The fact they chose to announce it within this time frame, and the stock is still up 150% from its lows, to me, that shows the board didn't just choose now for no particular reason to raise the capital. So I trust them to make the right decision, and I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm not saying it's impossible. If he pops again, I expect Ryan Cohen will raise more funds, but he may not. I wouldn't worry about it. Just change the end result. Exactly. If it does, it only makes the war chest bigger. Exactly. What are your thoughts on the Nvidia bubble burst? Is there a bubble? Could the market crash be triggered by Nvidia's share to fall from its peak? Teacher, I mean, hey, I posted me a while back where it's like the giant holding the earth up, and I was like, Nvidia with the stock market. Listen, I think Nvidia is crazy overvalued, right? Like, I get it. It's growth stock. Everyone's using their stock. Even today, right? Like, it finally dropped off after touching 140, which, by the way, is 1,400 pre-split. Going from 1,400 to 1,300 pre-split. This amount of market cap moving is crazy. It's actually crazy that it moves that much. But just remember, any stock that can move up this fast can come down just as quick. Yes, I understand they're growing a lot. They're doing a lot in things that are in very high demand in artificial intelligence and data centers. And it's a great business model. Don't get me wrong. But just because it's a great company doesn't mean it's a great stock at that particular moment in time. So I feel like it's due for a decline. And in a market crash scenario, it's going to get hammered. I don't know if exactly it will be like a cause or effect type of thing. I don't know if it will be the cause and then the effect is the market crash, or the cause is the market crash and the effect is Nvidia falling a lot. We'll have to see. Multitasking but caught my attention with Bitcoin. Hey, Pepe Toshi, I know you're a big Bitcoin bull. I respect it. I absolutely respect it. New security anti-bot bot. LOL. Yeah, see, that's what I got to learn about. Exactly. There's another dilution. I really do think shares will start to demand the plans of what's going on with that much cash. That's a very fair point, Ryan. That is a very fair point, because you got to do 3 rounds of dilution. That'd be crazy. What's up, Brett? Thanks for being here. Wendy, what up, what up? Game Share Stop Away. Love buying the dips. Danny, hope you're doing well. Play devil's advocate. It's June. LOL. Hey, you never know. I agree. Should inform. Oh my goodness. Good. Should inform. Shows the plan with the newfound cash. I listen. I respect it, but I think it's one of those two where it's like, at this point in time, that's what the company's going to do, right? So, however, this could shift. You should let viewers join in through Discord like Marantz does. LOL. Yeah, honestly, Ryan, maybe that's not a bad idea. I'm getting near the point where I feel like, because I'm really trying to get down, like controlling the tempo of the stream, the flow, and all those sorts of things, right, before I start having people on. But I feel like I'm almost ready to maybe start having people on, so stay tuned for that. This shift could sentiment among retail investors of short-term investment outlook. Exactly, that's the thing too. Additionally, if Hedge's theory about institutions being the whales that are acquiring all the newly shares holds true, it adds another layer to the situation. Exactly, teacher. This thing is like a giant onion. There's so many layers to it. Shrek would be proud. They probably would be very quiet, though. All of Wall Street's trying to stop them. Exactly. Like, I see both sides of it, right? I see you don't want to telegraph your moves to the enemy, but at the same time, you have some very loyal shareholders who want to know what's happening, right? But to me, I'm kind of neutral. I'm like, sure, it'd be great to know, But I understand when I got involved in this, right? I'm trusting in Ryan Code and team's execution for the future. Marquise, your tweet a few days ago, Jimmy would hit 1,000 if they buy Bitcoin and adopt MSTR strategy. Hey, listen, I know I've seen the idea out there. If it goes well, great. But listen, it's all, preference for what they want to do at the end of the day, right? It all comes down to their decision. Like I said, I'm not totally opposed to them buying a little, but I just don't see, like, based on what we've seen, them taking that approach. Nvidia's a new liquidity hedge for a while too. Just so you know, Nvidia might be the biggest overvalued fraud scheme Ponzi ever. What they did with the HKD scam and liquidity hedge Jimmy over a year ago. Jay, that's a very good point. HKD, everyone forgets about that, right? Remember this stock? And everyone's like, oh, the retail traders are YOLOing in on it. Retail traders couldn't even buy it. Look at this. This is insane. Just some Chinese company no one's ever heard of. And this is what it did. Give me a break. At this point, retail investors couldn't even buy it. And look, there's not even that much volume. Look, we had more volume down the line here. There wasn't even that much volume. How did this happen? Will the SEC look into it, or are they going to be like, interest in GME is generating? Exactly, Weirdo, exactly. Historical. All right, bubble will burst and GME will soar once the massive lacks liquidity. Mark my words. Hey, I don't think that's impossible, Jay. The OG DD of Superstar kind of said it's going to take a market crash for GameStop to go up. But all right, before we keep going here in the chat, or I guess I'm almost caught up at this point, so then I'll get back to Archegos. Fascinating microscope of market structure, exactly. Bearish and engulging. Do you think the two dilutions upon the price surges were planned well ahead of time, or do you think they had to think quickly and think of a reasonable price to dilute? I feel like a little of it was like acting quick, but I feel like they acted quick, but also like anticipated it a little bit, right? Whether they saw failure delivers coming or some kind of swaps expiring or whatever exactly the case, I feel like they didn't just randomly choose it or like, oh my God, we have to act right now. I feel like they thought like, okay, like this is coming. Maybe not exactly at this. Maybe they thought about it like in January, right? For example, and thought, okay, this is coming within the next 12 months. We know it because of this X, Y, or Z, or we see indication. When it does, like we'll be ready to go ahead and issue shares. So I think it's like a hybrid of both. I would say. 3.25 trillion is complete BS. Yeah, it's insane. It's actually insane. Has to come back down because all kinds of EPS have to rebalance. Very normal for a strong stock to resist after spill, then boom again. Makes sense, yeah. So I'm Tetron, hoping for a big close of the week with the quad witching thing. Ben, what up, what up? Thank you. Forgot about that, honestly. Quad witching is coming up. So we'll see. There's a lot of things that expire. What is quad witching? It's options, futures. I forget exactly what it is. I just know it's like a lot of like market maker based positions that expire, and I'm just off the dome here. I forget, but I get the concepts of it. But yeah, it is one of four, right? Quad witching, and that's what quad is for. So they can also go parabolic too, which it could, but that's a bearish engulfing candle. So we'll see Fibonacci retrace. Yeah, we'll have to see. Like I said, I don't do too much short term predictions, but you never know. Bubble burst very soon. You never know. So okay, thanks for being patient, guys. Back to the back to the main point here, or thing I was going through, which is Archegos. So, in addition to manipulating the prices of certain securities, I also have misrepresented Archegos' trading counterparties. These counterparties were bank brokers who were extended the fund credit to trade on margin and entered into swap agreements with the fund. I knew that the fund's counterparties considered Archegos portfolios and assets when setting margin rates and limits on swap capacity. In order to maintain favorable margin rates and gain additional swap capacity, I made false and misleading statements and omissions regarding the size and composition of the fund's portfolio. So if you're wondering, how could that have happened, right? I thought it's all regulated. I thought it's all reported. They were operating as a family office, which essentially allowed them to get around some of these reporting requirements and disclosure requirements. So they're able to essentially just lie and get away with it. I knew that doing so would mislead counterparties as to the true risk presented by the fund. I made these false and misleading statements and omissions during phone calls and email exchanges with the representatives from the banks. While engaged in the activities I described, I worked under supervision of Sung Kuk Huang, better known as Bill Huang, the founder and head of Archegos. I agreed with Bill and others to carry out the business of Archegos through a pattern of manipulating the prices of securities and deceiving counterparties. I did so knowing that I, Bill, or others committed as at least two manipulative or deceptive acts in the course of conducting Archegos' affairs. I knew that Archegos' trading activity was carried out over the interstate wires and affected interstate commerce. I knew this conduct was wrong at the time that I participated in it, and I knew the things I did were illegal. Thank you. So basically, like, testifying that, hey, I fucked up. Court, thank you. Does Does everything that you have just read to me from the notes are truthfully relate your actions and your knowledge at the relevant time? Correct, Your Honor. Mr. Podolsky, and I'm pretty sure he's testifying to try and say, hey, listen, I'll tell you the truth. I know you're after the founder, but let me go on a later deal, right? I think that's pretty much what's going on here. Mr. Podolsky, are there any further factual issues that the government would like addressed in the plea allocation? Alculation. New word. Just one, Your Honor. If you could ask whether any of the activities that Mr. Tomita just described took place in Manhattan or in New York City, just to clarify venue. The answer to that question is yes. Some of these activities took place in Manhattan. The court, thank you. Mr. Tomita and your counsel, you can be seated for a moment. I'm going to ask Mr. Podolsky to summarize the government's evidence against Mr. Tomita. Thank you, Your Honor. If we were to proceed the trial in this case, the evidence offered by the government would include testimony by law enforcement officials and participant witnesses, extensive email, Bloomberg message, and text message records, notes, recordings of phone calls, and corporate bank and other financial and trading records. The court, and it is in the government's position that the body of evidence would be sufficient to establish guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Very much, Your Honor, yes. Thank you. Mr. Tomita, would you please stand again? How do you plead to the charge in court in count one of the information, guilty or not guilty? Guilty, Your Honor. Pleading guilty. How do you plead to the charge in count two of the information? Guilty, Your Honor. How do you plead in charge in count three of the information? Guilty. So guilty. Yes, I did. You understand it? You signed it? Yes. Okay, so that's the main part right there, right? And then we go down here, and these are the swaps, right? So the swap counterparties, these are the counterparties that are being deceived, and they're trading swaps over a 1 year period until they blow up. And you can see originally it's a lot of ETF swaps, right? Just having to do with S&P, QQQ, which is, those who aren't familiar, the NASDAQ. Then you have emerging markets ETFs start to get mixed in there. So you start to get a little riskier down the line, right? And then here, something very interesting happens. Custom basket swaps, where, as we read up there a little bit earlier on, right? We can go back to page 182. It's like you start seeing more and more of these. So you see them initially, and then you see even them pop up again a month later. And the first one's like pretty large, right? So the first one was like $1 billion custom swap. Next one's like relatively small. The few after that are basically $500 million each, and then 230 billion. So see, they have several different counterparties. They have 8 counterparties, and they're not listed. You know, they're protected. You know, whatever. While it's still ongoing, I don't know if this information will ever come out. You know, given the nature of the market we're in, I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't bet on it. But you can see it's like swap with counterparty 5, basket 1. And then here, swap with counterparty 8, basket 1. So this is, you know, the basically if it's basket 1, it's like the first basket they've created with that particular counterparty. And you see they pop up again, not as much, like a month later. And then in late December, and then especially early January 2021, you start seeing them pop up a lot. And you see some of them, right, they get with counterparty 4, swap counterparty 4, basket 1, and then, or sorry, I guess counterparty 5 would be a better example, because you see they have a second basket, because we also saw they had a basket set up here, right? Basket 1. So you see they start sending up multiple baskets in some scenarios. And all of a sudden, in January 2021, right? And what else happened in January 2021? That's the tinfoil, right? You see all these basket swaps. So many are being created each day with all these different counterparties. And pretty much what's going on is that they're short on margin, right? They need more money to keep their positions up. And like he mentioned earlier, right? We'll go back to it. They're basically trading illegally, or trading, like, deceiving the counterparties. But basically, they're going to counterparty 1 and like, okay, yeah, let's set up this. Yeah, we can have this much margin to put up. And then they're going to counterparty 2, like, oh yeah, like, let's set up this custom basket swap. But yeah, we have this much margin to put up, and they're using the same margin that they just told counterparty 1 about. So they're using the same margin with all these different counterparties. And then once they all figured that out, that's where they all ran for the door, and Archegos went. And you can see going into, and then it slows down a little bit, right? But there's still a pretty significant amount. But then the week where GameStop exploded, look how so massive some of these custom basket swaps were, right? You have so many of them being traded, so many different counterparties involved. And then you have a few more going into early February, and then mid-February they continue. But basically from there, right? starting in like early January 2021. So really when 2021 started, from there up until when they blew up, they started just executing so many custom basket swaps. Whereas originally it was all ETF swaps, right? So I think that just kind of foreshadowed, right? Internally, they saw foreshadowing that it's like, we're in trouble right now. Things do not look good. And keep in mind, this was during a bull market at the time too. So they were just really, really like pushing to the edge in terms of over leveraging and then cutting it really, really close, right? And then ultimately, they keep trading the counterparty swap baskets, basket swap back and forth, until it all blows up in their face in the 23rd of March in 2021. And then that's where we are today with the trial. And then you go back to, what was it, like 188? And it makes sense, right? You can see the highlighted portion is in line with it. So I did this by example for buying large amounts of stock when the price dropped in response to negative news or trading pre-market when I knew the fund's activity would have a greater impact on price. So how they could have did that without influencing the market, right? I manipulated the price of these securities in order to influence others in the market to buy or sell the securities in ways that would benefit Archegos' key positions and increases Archegos' purchasing power through variation margin. See, again, through margin with the counterparties. Also misrepresented to Archegos' trading parties. These counterparties were banks and brokers who extended the fund credit to trade on margin and entered in swap agreements with the fund. When they were entering these swap agreements, they didn't realize the same collateral was being used with counterparty 2, counterparty 3, counterparty 4, right? And they're like, when it was all like chatter started to go around, or the first one pulled out and was like, you know what, we can't, like, you're not doing well, like, we have to pull out, no more margin for you. And again, I'm explaining in very general terms here, but definitely more complex than that. But it just shows you how easy it is for something to go under the radar when it's like very obviously suspicious, if that makes sense. I knew that the fund's counterparts would consider Archegos' portfolio and assets when setting margin rates and limits on swap capacity. In order to maintain favorable margin rates and gain additional swap capacity, I made false and misleading statements and omissions regarding the size and composition of the fund's portfolio. I knew that doing so would mislead counterparties as to the true risks presented by the funds. I made these false and misleading statements and omissions during phone calls and exchanges with representatives in the back. So that's just some insight on Archegos there. And then now, you have the live news talking about it again. And you have another reference here. I'm kind of just going through them. Berkey tried to connect the movements in Archegos holdings to the meme stock craze, suggesting GSX rose in January 21 as part of short squeeze against Mountain Capital. He also highlighted a chat between Tomita and former Archegos CFO Patrick Halligan, Huang's co-defendant, about GameStop. Is there a long book going GameStop on us? Halligan asked in the chat. I have no idea what's happening. Basically just saying, hey, are all these people just buying into GSX and then we're getting screwed on the other side of the trade? And they're just saying, is going GameStop? That's what they're referencing, right? And then try to say now, oh, well, this was because of retail investors, definitely not us doing suspicious activity, right? And then a quick side piece I'm just reading right here because this is a pretty significant piece about it, if I remember correctly. Tomita walked back an anecdote he told during his earlier testimony. He previously described joking with Huang about how Meghan Markle might think Viacom's March 8, 2021 share rise was due to her and Prince Harry's Oprah Winfrey interview being broadcast on CBS the day before, when it was actually Archegos buying. Berkey pointed out that Archegos' purchases of Viacom that day were insufficient to boost the stock by nearly 13% and shut up the day. Tomita agreed. But also, remember, they're trying to keep their collateral looking good, so they needed to push certain positions up. So it was like, oh, look, don't worry, our positions are still doing well. These positions aren't doing well anymore, but these are doing well, right? And that just seems to be the extent of what they brought up with GameStop. Besides this one, it's not entirely clear where Berkey's going with this, but the defense has brought up GameStop periodically to suggest Archegos' secrecy about its portfolio is not driven by any effort to manipulate stock, but fears of being targeted and short squeezed by meme stock investors, which is nonsense because there's such a new concept at the time, and there's no like everyone's just, oh, we're all going to buy this, right? Like it's so just not that simple, right? It's really just not that simple. But all right, you know what I want to transition to, because someone did say it, the cat system was talked about, right? Let's see. Should come up here, right? Someone put out like a DD over 1,000% volatility. Crazy. Shout out White Rabbit 741. Yo, and enough. Someone has to say it. Enough with the goddamn bananas. I've had enough of seeing. I will never watch. I'll just trust me, bro. In terms of people say, oh, the guy actually did it. That said, if the price goes over X, then I'm gonna go ahead and just put that banana where the sun don't shine. But I don't. I'll just take your word for it. Like, I don't need to see it. I don't need the proof. But enough. Rick of Spades, iconic. Still wacky, still weird to me. But okay, it was once. Now everyone else is trying to do it. Enough with the bananas. Enough with the bananas. I've had enough. I've really had enough about seeing things about bananas. See, exactly. This is funny though. This is funny though. Oh my god. So let's see. Where is that post? See the earlier post about correlation cat error for data and GME price runs. The June report has been released, and here's what it tells us. All right, so we'll go from here to. Does it have the original post? Let's see. Who else remembers when this happened on Wednesday? Damn, March 24th, 2021. Crazy. Oh no, this is the one. Follow up on earlier post about correlation between cat error reported data and GME price runs. And to be clear, guys, this is the first time I'm reading this. The June report has been released, and here's what it tells us. I performed more in-depth analysis of publicly available historical data, cat error statistics. Through this, I may, keyword may, have found the, quote, holy grail, a means to predict GME price runs with possible 100% accuracy. All right, already, my shields are up. Put the shields up because I'm very skeptical of anyone that's like, oh, I figured it out, right? Okay. This is a follow-up to my previous post about cat error statistics. Whatever the cause may be, 9 consecutive instances of the same pattern resulting in a price run seems more than just a pure coincidence. Adjusted error rate. Oh, okay, so they did some pretty complex math, so it's not that simple. But basically, it makes a giant move over the next X amount of time after a T plus 35. Interesting. The time and then the T plus 35. Okay, just digesting here real time. When you had a similar effect with the 9 T plus 35 price runs as well, statistically highly probable, I guess, that there is some kind of link here. Let's see, about the presentation containing the relevant data is available here. Look at the data for equities error rates in the last reported. Between May 10th and June 13th, there are no instances meeting the criteria I set. That is for a single date, greater than 1.8 billion reported euros, or for a cumulative 1.8 billion euros, or errors. Why did I read it? See, guys, burn out already. Crazy errors within a 5-day trading period. As such, we still stuck on the 9th instance back on the 1st of May. And does this, just throwing on the tinfoil hat here since we're reading this anyway, something to do with this? Berkshire? Maybe, right? Because what's T plus 35, or the T plus 35 period? Oh, no, T plus 35 from, okay. Now the tinfoil hat just is shining bright right now. So if, from here, right, this person's saying, and I'm going to have to keep going backwards here, that was the threshold I used in my data analysis for being significant for the number of errors and that I added to my tracking spreadsheet. However, the data show one date does show one date with greater than 100 million errors. So we are, quote, stuck on the 9th instance back. But what I noticed right away about the 5th? The 6th was the day Berkshire glitched. And then, funny enough, that's when the volume dropped off for Berkshire as well, right? I don't know. All just food for thought there. Let's keep reading. The date of the 7th was the dump day of 76% run. In fact, and also the day Berkshire glitched. Then price ran up. It came back down by 39% on June 7th. Or no, Berkshire glitched the 7th, right? Or was it the 3rd? God, all the days are blending together, guys. I think it was the 3rd, because I'm pretty sure it was this day where we saw the significant drop off. Or maybe I don't know, whatever. It's just interesting it's around the same time. Let's keep going here. If my theory is correct, then these cat reporting errors are basically the smoke of the fire that some kind of crime has occurred in the market. Again, allegedly. Correcting an error using action type RPR. So broker 1 receives a custom order and maybe a little custom basket swaps. 2 rejects the order from broker 1, generates ingestion error feedback, resubmits the order, reports new order with action type RPR, accepts their repair. Error feedback, 2001, action type RPR, and then correction submission. And furthermore, that with a statistical significant correlation, it seems to relate highly to GME. Now look at the other side, the other data also included, which is for error rates with options trading in this period. So a significant amount on the 7th. There was an enormous 1.1 billion reported errors on that same date of June 7th. Interesting. And is this across everything or GameStop in particular? Just to be clear, my analysis on equities error rates only, and I have not only on equity error rates, and I have not studied to see there are similar water break. It's time for a water break. That's what that means. I'm starting to not make sense. Also, I actually didn't even eat dinner yet. I usually eat before the stream, but I had a super late lunch today, so I was like, oh, I can't eat dinner already. But I feel like I'm not as sharp when I don't eat, so kind of regret that, but that's all right. It was a busy day at work. So just to be clear, my analysis was on equities error rates only, and I have not studied to see if there are similar connections with options data. These were the other dates in this period for options, and no other dates with such high error numbers. But very suspicious that a date on which GME share price was pushed down had very high errors in both equities and options data. Agreed. Anyway, I'll leave you for now with the results of my study so far. We'll wait for the 10th instance in the equities data. Perhaps the options data is worth looking into. Okay, interesting. So let's see. I'm assuming it's the same person here. Okay, so this is what everyone's talking about, right? The original post. I performed... Oh, wait. Performed more in-depth data. Okay. I guess we're working backwards here. Though I may have found the Holy Grail. Okay, let's see. Maybe we'll go back even one step further. Start to go in the correct order here. Some, quite frankly, insane cat reporting data from May 1st could have been what led to Ron Kitty's return. Possibly also means for anticipating future price run-ups from now. Okay, I believe most of you are now familiar with CAT NMS rulers requiring financials to submit accurate data on trading activities. Here's a brief summary. A safe amount of data is collected about equity trading in order to ensure. And by the way, guys, shout out to Region-Formal. This is who is writing all this. A safe amount of data is collected about equities trading, and this is the first time I'm reading this, just to clarify, about equities trading in order to ensure market transparency, efficient settlement, and regulatory compliance. Here's a breakdown of the data, who reports it, and where it goes. Types of data collected. And I'm going to save this because this seems like good information for future Tetron. Oh, why is it the only thing shown on the memes folder, right? I don't know why it shows empty. Believe me, there's memes in there. Symbol of the security traded, and this has to be details in every trade execution. Share price, trade quantity, order type, timestamp of the trade, venue where the trade was executed, exchange or alternative trading system. Order data, in some cases, order book data may also be collected, which includes details about unexpected buy and sell orders. Account data, information about customer accounts used for trading, such as account holder name and type, individual or institutional. Who reports the data? Broker-dealers. Firms that execute trades on behalf of the clients are primarily responsible for reporting data. This includes online brokers, traditional brokerage houses, and market makers. Exchange and alternative trading systems, ATS. Trading venues where equities are bought and sold are also responsible for reporting trades data that occurs on their platform. To whom the data is reported? Consolidated Audit Trail, CAT, National Market System, NMS. This is a central repository for all equities trading data in the United States. It's overseen by a consortium, oh, big word, of self-regulatory organizations, SROs, including the Financial Industry Regulatory, FINRA, Okay, how much do they do their job in? SEC. Also has access to CAT and MS data for regulatory purposes. And did anyone see that thing? This one made a really funny joke. CAT 2. Where it's like how, what was it, like Pornhub's about to be banned in a few different states now, or I don't know, like going to effect soon. And first comment I saw was like VPN usage is about to go through the roof in those states or something like that. Second comment is like SEC SEC will be moving operations out of all those states or something, because allegedly SEC employees at some point or another in the past got caught on that particular website. So I think most of you know the full compliance for reporting this data went into effect May 31st. Yes, that is correct. And it is also, let's see, when GameStop, there was hope like, oh, CAT's going into place, it's going to affect GameStop. I was like, yeah, people have said stuff like that for a long time, so I took it with a grain of salt, right? But, May 31st, right in here, right? Something to do with this? Maybe, sort of, kind of, allegedly. However, it should be noted that FINRA has been publishing a monthly report mainly for the benefit of its constituent. It's big words, man. Institutional members, always learning. These reports are mostly quite boring and very much only interested to the intended target audience. Yeah, I don't think any average person is just reading all this. However, the final appendix section contains some macro level data that has been of interest to me. Here's a typical page in this section. So the overall error rate initial. Note the error rate percentages, which are trades that occur on a certain date that did not contain all regulatory required information. On most dates, the rate is less than 1. Okay, so basically they're putting it out each day, and the information said back here, right, of what they need in every trade. All of this, if any of this is missing, then there's an error message, right, and it has to be corrected. And then if it has to be corrected, maybe there's something suspicious that takes place, right? That's the theory. I think that's what I'm picking up here. Those percentages are based on the aggregate trade data, which is tracking all equity trades that took place on a day-to-day basis. So overall errors count on most dates between 20 and 50 billion trades reported. It's insane just to think about that number alone. But so these numbers are in billions, or no? Yeah, these are numbers in billions. 20 to 50 billion trades are reported. Okay, and then the overall error count. So most of the error counts like in millions, or some days even just 100,000s. Of these, usually the trades that have errors in the reported data are only a few 100,000 through tens of millions, which we see here, compared to 20 to 50 billion trades processed. Insane. Note also the late column, which is trades that took place where the error was non-submission of data. Interesting. So not the data being submitted having an error, just I guess that it was late, but in being late, that caused an error in itself. Again, the figures on a typical date for this tend to be a few 100,000s to tens of millions. And that might sound a lot, but again, relative to 20 to 50 billion trades total. Looking back at past monthly CAT update reports, the data is fairly consistent for the late and error volume. For example, here's in the winter, okay, pretty much the same type of situation. Or here in the spring, same type of situation. Until we get to the most recently published update for May. I was rather surprised by the late percentage for May 1st. It's a magnitudes greater than anything I've seen before now. So what exactly happened on May 1st? Let's see, how did GameStop do that day? Let's go back to the dailies. Okay, the chart doesn't want to load. Let's clear some stuff out here. See, maybe we'll get to that. We went through this. We already took the touch on Archegos. Listen, guys, I don't hate the movies personally, but the reality of it is you just got to look at this screenshot right here. And unfortunately, Adam Aaron is just, and I'm not going to harp on this too long, but just unfortunate how he's really treated shareholders, in my also humble opinion. But I was rather surprised by the late percentage of May 1st. So that's crazy right there, right? Look at that. Overall error percentage is 16%, adjusted 14.7. So significantly higher than any of the other days. So truly an anomaly, because all the other days are anywhere from 0.01% to at the most 0.2, 0.3 in one scenario, but 14% is definitely an outlier. And I don't know why, that's all of a sudden my new favorite word, an anomaly. I don't know why. You know, you start saying things all of a sudden, I'm like, that's an anomaly. Bro, what an anomaly that number is, right? But also known as an outlier. Here are the raw numbers. So 7 billion overall error counts at that day. And then a lot of them, or pretty much all of them, are actually late. Well, over 7 billion trades that are deemed to be an error as they simply have not been filed late. So those trades just simply weren't filed. They were late, as it implies. That report shows aggregate data for all equities trading, so not possible to identify which trades have not been reported correctly. Interesting. However, it's very interesting that GME went up 17% the next day. Okay. And in fact, quintupled in price over the next couple of weeks, including when Roaring Kitty came back to us. Question: could this be the data that actually triggered his return? That's a very valid question, because something I've been asking myself is, why would Roaring Kitty come back now? He could have rolled off into the sunset. He hasn't said anything in years. Why, out of nowhere, did he tweet going up, right? And then what day was that tweet that I was going to just try and scroll back, but that was too long ago at this point. I don't know if anyone knows the exact date that he came back, but that would be a very good question. I wonder. Well, we do know it wasn't exactly here. I think it was it here? Yes, it was over this weekend. It was it must have been May 12th, because May 13th is a Monday, and we saw a huge gap up over that weekend, right? We'd already seen the price kind of looking strong going into Friday, and he tweeted that Sunday night out of nowhere, just guy leaning up in his chair like, game on. What's so funny is the next day, suddenly, all these others, Roaring Kitty returns, tweets this image, this cryptic photo. What does this mean? Right? It's just so funny seeing this news outlets talk about him. Like, he has to, I think he finds that hilarious. He's like, I just am a literal guy, average guy who just did streaming, right? And all of a sudden now, anytime I do anything, I post a picture, and the financial mainstream media is covering it as a legit story. Like, just think about how mind-boggling that is. If you told someone in 2019, right, 5 years ago today, let's say it's summer 2019, and you say, listen, I go to you, I guess, say, hey, I'm from the future. I'm from June 2024. There's going to be this guy coming along called Roaring Kitty, aka Deep Fucking Value, just some random guy you've never heard of, and he's going to YOLO on GameStop. The price is going to accumulate massively. They're going to see one of the most historic events and just widely talked about things in January 2021. And then he's going to disappear and come back 3 years later. And he's going to be his every single move is going to be talked about in the media. Oh, yeah. And by the way, he also had to testify on Capitol Hill that he wasn't manipulating markets. You say, what the hell are you talking about? That would never happen in a million years. And that's part of what makes this saga so damn beautiful. All these different things that have happened. It's like, it's just, I don't think anybody could have predicted this. Although, there are theories out there that DFV himself is a time traveler. That's just what they say, not me. But, and in fact, quintupled in price over the next few weeks, including when Roaring Kitty came back to us. Is this what triggered his return? But yeah, I've been asking myself, why would he come back now? Why would he come back now? Why now, right? And we're going to get through all this, and then I'm going to go through the chat, because I want to get through all of it. It's fine. I'm rocking and rolling here. I'm sure you guys would be very interested to know that FINRA are holding a webinar, guess what, for their members tomorrow for the June update. Interesting. I'm sharing the link below to this information for those available to listen. This might be worth listening to. FINRA Cat. What is it? Meeting. Webinar. Okay. Interesting. Might be worth. I believe the aggregate trade data statistics from May 10th onwards should be released after that. I'm very, very interested to see the late or error data points to a trend connected to GME. Let's see. Hey, again, I would say take this with a grain of salt, just again, given how many different theories I've seen come and go over these different periods of time, and just being in the stock a long time, so take it with a grain of salt. It seems very interesting, I'm not going to lie. And again, I'm just reading this for the first time, but always be skeptical. You never truly know. So just, I'm still cautious here, right? I think this is very interesting, and I'm very curious to keep reading about it. And again, it's just the first I'm reading about it, but try to, temper expectations. Could be nothing. There's a lot of things in the past that have come and go that it's like, oh, this might be something big. Wow, I can't believe what this is, right? And it was nothing crazy. So, but this seems certainly interesting, and CAT is certainly new. So, the Consolidated Audit Trail. I performed more in-depth data analysis of publicly available historical CAT error statistics. Through this, I may have found the holy grail, a means to predict GME price runs with a possible 1% accuracy. Interesting. Okay, so this is the original post. Hopefully, most of you had a chance to read through my previous posts. Top of the post was humongous number of trades with the error reported under CAT on May 1st. 7.1 billion fact represents 14.7% of all equities trades that took place in the U.S. on that date. Crazy. That's crazy to think about, right? And I apologize. I'm kind of bouncing all over. I don't think I've done the post exactly in the right order here, but 14.7% of all trades in the United States. Not saying it's definitely all for GameStop, but just we're late, not basically put in at the end of the day. It's just crazy to think about. For the previous post, the report that shows the aggregate data for all equities trading, so not possible to identify which trades have not been reported correctly. However, it's very interesting that GME went plus 17% that very next day. Not only that, but the stock then ran another 77% from June 5th, which is T plus 35 days from May 1st. This got me thinking, although the errors reported under CAT are a macro level for all equities, could these reports be hiding any trends with GME? And again, just because we got the tinfoil hat on here and speculate a little further, June 5th, right? And then June 6th, and then the day of Berkshire's little hiccup is June 3rd, like right before that. Does that tie into it in any way? I don't know. I don't know for sure, but it certainly seems interesting. It's got me thinking all the errors are reported under macro level. To check, I download all the monthly CAT update reports that Fed's been releasing over the last couple of years. Fortunately, the relevant data, daily reporting, and how many trades report the incorrect data is contained in a PDF format only. This means no easy way to processing the data. Example, if it was a CSV file, you'd be able to download it and analyze it yourself, but to manually do manual checking and copying, yeah, that's brutal, because if it's like a CSV, you can download it, basically put it into an Excel or whatever data scraping platform. That's not something I'm super familiar with, right? But basically then you can execute on the data, you can use the data in some shape or form, but when it's just in a PDF, like, that don't make it easy, right? And hey, maybe that's a coincidence, maybe not. I use Excel to keep track of any dates that had excessive error counts, which I set. Damn, this person went through day by day. That's insane. Excessive error counts, which I set at over 100 million. So 14.76% on the first, 17.47% on the 10th of January 2023. Like May 1st, occasionally the figure reported is enormous and running into the billions on a single day. That's so interesting. Why would that randomly happen on certain days? Or stacking up over the course of a week or so to effectively also be in billions of errors when compounded. Makes sense. So 1.66% for that particular day. But if you're saying an average of 1%, 2% in here, that would kind of be near that 15% number again. Sadly, these CAT monthly updates reported only began to release in late 2021, so no data before that. See, that's very unfortunate. Had there been data from pre-2021, like let's see, go back to 2020, that'd be very, very interesting, right? Because I don't know, if he's a time traveler or he just has he sees something in terms of the cycles of stock that I truly don't think anyone else can exactly see, because people say, oh yeah, he just got lucky and whatever. It's like, no, he bought and sold call options. When you look back at his whole history of YOLO updates, he bought and sold call options on many different occasions, right? And in this occasion, he sold some call options and exercised a pretty significant portion of them to now own 9,001,000 shares total, which is just insane. And you look at the most recently reported like institutional filings for GameStop, and he's literally one of the biggest holders, right? Obviously, these institutional filings are not up to date. And I found this interesting too. I didn't realize GameStop was trending today. I'm kind of surprised, honestly. And Nvidia, of course. When's this thing not trending, right? But look at the ownership. The top holders. Vanguard BlackRock, and then DFV. I mean, and Ryan Cohen's above DFV, but as per State Street's last filing, right, which was March 31st, and obviously a lot has happened with the stock since then, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them hold more shares as of this time. But looking as of the last reporting, it's still crazy to think that he's one of the large shareholders, right? And unless Geode or Charles Schwab or Bank of New York Mellon just massively increased their position, even if State Street increased their position, he'd still be the fifth largest shareholder, just behind Ryan Cohen and these three like megacorps that own pretty much the whole world, right? But that's a whole conversation in itself. So it's just crazy to think how many shares he has on his own, right? It's truly remarkable, and just by trading it so successfully for such a long period of time. And while we can't say for sure what he did since January 2021 or whatever he disappeared, right? Like, what was it, around June 2021, maybe May 2021? He went dark for 3 years. What happened during that time? He when he went dark, he had 200,000 shares of GameStop. Split adjusted, he has 800,000. He comes back with 5 million. So somehow he accumulated 420,000 shares. And then also keep in mind that if he was trading that whole time, right, and it's not in a Roth IRA, a lot of people speculate that his YOLO update is cash within a Roth IRA because you wouldn't be having to pay any taxes on the gains. And then when he does retire, he would be able to take the gains out tax-free because it's a post-tax account. So if it's not an IRA, a Roth IRA though, then think about the amount of taxes he would have had to been paying anytime he makes a massive gain. So to accumulate that 4.2 million shares, he would have also had to have made even more money where he actually sold those shares, or sorry, not sold those shares, but he had to have made even more money to have been able to account for the massive tax bill he would have to pay, right? Again, unless the money was in a Roth IRA, then it's a different story, right? And he's able to accumulate more. But just the fact he went from 800,000 shares to 5 million shares, right? He gained 4.2 million shares in that whole time while he was gone. Was he selling options? Was he buying and selling options, right? Was he just selling puts the whole time? Was he selling some covered calls? Was he trading other stocks? Was he riding the Nvidia wave and playing options on that? Nobody truly knows, but he comes back a true GME elitist, right? As they like to say out there, the GME elitist, right? He is a GME elitist, whether we like it or not, because he only holds GME. Not to say he didn't trade things in between, but as of right now, he's a GME elitist. So sadly, these cat numbers were not released prior to late 2021, so no data before that. And until spring 2022, the error statistics contained were just a sample of a few days of every month, not the full raw data. Okay, so it's just sample data, not like every single day. But with the available reports and data, identified 9 instances when the error count was at least 1.8 billion within 5 trading days, as follows. See, this is a grind that somebody went and put this. The fact that they weren't even able to scrape the data, they took it from a PDF and put it into an Excel. Like, shout out to you, Region-Formal. Shout out to you. Mad respect. I then checked what happened to GME's share price from the trading day after the count was 1.8 billion. Also, just another thing that's so incredible about this saga. This person, right? Regional Formal, I don't know anything about them. I don't know their experience in the stock market, but their Reddit cake day is November 28th, 2020, which would imply they joined Reddit in late 2020. Maybe to start talking about GameStop, right? Maybe they still talked about stocks before that, but gotta love Reddit. Always good usernames and always good caps. When life gives you lemons, it means you're dyslexic. Oh, ironic enough, dyslexic. But just so many people learning so many different things, and this person clearly has some kind of experience or knowledge base in data, and you just have so many different minds coming together and sharing different things. Of course, everyone's an individual investor. Everyone has to take their own approach, do what's best for them, and whether you invest in the stock, trade the stock, just hope and just buy and hold and ignore, like whatever your situations, right? Everyone's got to do what's best for them, and everyone has their own approach, and that's okay. I'm not here to tell anyone what to do, but what to me is so fascinating is so many different minds coming together and just sharing information on public platforms such as X or Reddit. Like, I would never have saw this data, right, had I not read this post and now garnered interest in this topic. So here are the results from the trading day after 1.8 billion in errors. Oh, can I get rid of this thing on the bottom? This is driving me crazy. But here are the results: 1.8 billion errors, all 9 instances resulted in a price run within 60 days. The average of these is 101%, and the median is 60%. Very interesting. An average of doubling over that 60-day period. And then he has the date right here of when it occurred, or like when these errors were reported, and then T plus 35 of the latest one, right? And again, it's T plus 35 calendar days. And then the overall error count, and then the amount of movement in stock. And then obviously the most recent one was the most significant over that 13-day period. But that's also the shortest period. And then if you account for, well, now you say account for like even more days ahead, then we'd still have more of a way to go, right? But where was I? But these are, varying days. We didn't use like one particular day, right? And it's interesting, right? It's all just food for thought. It's all just food for thought. I'm not saying like, OMG, this guy solved it. Puzzle solved, game over, everything's complete, right? You're done, right? No. This is story is far from over, number one. And number two, it's all just speculation, right? At the end of the day, you gotta, like, while this seems very, very interesting, don't get me wrong. And again, I'm just reading all this for the first time, but you gotta take everything with a grain of salt. I've been here long enough to know that I would like to call myself a veteran ape, if you guys don't mind. But I've been here long enough to know that you should be very questioning of everything when it comes to this stock and any theories surrounding it, just given what's happened over the last several years, right? The reason I selected the day after hitting 1.8 billion was because that is the earliest it would be known that such a mark had been reached. Next, I looked at the T plus 35 trading date after 1.8 errors had passed. Once again, all 9 instances resulted in a price run within 60 days. This time, the average price run was plus 39% and median was plus 35%. Okay. What is happening with CAT that is maybe allowing us to identify a link between the audit trail and most likely criminal trades on GME? Again, just speculation. I really do not know, but looking at how the errors are identified, it may be that these files are containing... Oh, wait, am I going through the same data again? I might be, guys. I'm getting tired, and I'm getting hungry, too. But, all right, let me hear what you guys have to say in the chat about all this. Been keeping you waiting too long. Let's get some water, and we'll go through it. Make sure I get everything here. We're so smooth with the stream today. Good pace, on topic. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. I think maybe I'm too hard on myself. Sometimes I'm like, oh, yeah, like I'm all over the place in the stream. Because it's like I'm trying to balance, like keeping it active, keeping it going, but also like hitting the chat, getting through these different topics, right? So appreciate that comment, brother. Thank you. I don't think it has much to do with the price of GME when it comes to dilution. It was all about the liquidity and ability to sell 120 million shares. Dearest Jimmy, thank you for being here. I think that's a fantastic comment because well, let me read it again. That's how good of a comment it is. I don't think it has much to do with the price of GME when it comes down to dilution. It was all about the liquidity and ability to sell 120 million shares. That's a very, very great point because look at how much volume we had at this period of time. And that's where I think like the board, or at least Ryan Cohen, knew this in some shape or form was coming because, again, the liquidity is a huge factor, right? Where had they done this back here, the share offering looks very, very different. And I bet you the following price action looks very, very different. So it wasn't just like out of nowhere. And then also, the last market offering, 75 million shares were sold over a 3-day period. That's insane. And then also, relative to the amount of shares that were sold, the price held up pretty well, right? Like yes, obviously it dropped initially on the news, and then you had a drop off midday on that Friday, and this is also when Roaring Kitty was streaming, right? And coincidentally enough, right, this red candlestick right here is right when he was supposed to go live. It starts dropping right away. But also, that day, then it trades sideways, and from there, it goes down a little more, but it's basically sideways, right? Like this, where I put the dotted line, is the average price point at which the shares were sold. It's the open market. So they were selling shares, along this line, so they probably sold some here. They sold some here, sold some here, sold some here. And then we started running that Tuesday afternoon, and I was like, they're done with their share offering, aren't they? Right? Like I started thinking, like, are they really done with their share offering? That's crazy. So that would mean maybe they completed even just 2.5 trading days, right? Because obviously they would have filed it Monday. I think they I'm not sure if they necessarily would have had to, but I believe they would have just filed it Monday afternoon had it been done in 2. But let's say it was done in 2.5 days. That's insane to sell 75 million shares. You're absolutely right. There had to be a ton of liquidity available to sell those shares into the open market. Hence why they may have chose to do it at that particular time. And then the previous one, over a 6-day trading span. So maybe they thought like, okay, like this is it. And then the price started running again. And they're like, oh, well, we can take advantage even more so here. And then this one was at an average price of 20.74. And again, it's pretty crazy to think they sold shares at 20.74 and 28.49 when just 2 months ago to the date, GameStop was literally at $10 a share. And today it still holds 25. So crazy. It's actually crazy. What a time to be alive. Boys, just spilling it all out. Yes, sir. Some serious liquidity, exactly. Can't sell 75 million shares into 30 million a day volume, but you can onto 200 million. Exactly. Help touch on by clicking that like button, peeps. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. It's like I want to like say like, yeah, hit the like, guys, but I just feel so cringy saying it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, bro, hit the like. But at the same time, like, gotta help the stream. So like, try and balance it. Say a little bit. Say it not too much though. So I appreciate you guys saying in the chat because then I gotta say it aloud, right? So appreciate you guys so much. He's pleading guilty and will these faults to get a lighter sentence. Exactly, DRS Dream. Exactly. And that's back to the Archegos thing. Sorry, I probably should have checked it. That Tetron liquidity hedge total return swaps. Ooh, I feel like that Sigma guy. Ooh, that meme. But oh, okay. Let's go back. He's pleading guilty and admitting they have a lot of money. Exactly, Ben. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. In the ETFs, it's about 50% off exchange, 50% lit, and basket swaps, maybe tokens as well. Who knows? Big money knows how to move money. That's very true. Weirdo Shrine, absolutely right. Until they don't. Facts. Archegos custodian would know full well who the collateral is held for. They should be held accountable too. Very good point, dear stream. Exactly. If they have the right friends, though. Tetron liquidity hedge total swaps, total return swaps. Exactly. Crazy. Extremely over leveraged derivative collateral insanity. That's a great way to put it, Jay. The money will go from young rich man to the wise man with experience. True. There's G me. Let's go. I checked the banana demand. Is cat. Yeah. It's crazy. Every time someone posts a banana, stock goes up, right? Is Cat actually doing anything? We just went through that. Sorry, still getting caught up. Thank you. You're the best. Charmy, thanks for being here. I appreciate you bringing that up because that was absolutely very, very interesting to read through. On GME, the spaceship to 1K. Evoluxa, hey, you never know. That's all I'm saying. But maybe not tomorrow, maybe not today, maybe not even next year. Right? It might take some time before we get there, but we'll have to see, right? Not here to predict the future. Berkshire Glitch was on June 3rd. Thank you, Armchair. Thank you. So that makes sense. It's like the days are blending together. You know what I should do? I have to create my own like timeline. Add it to the list. Create my own like timeline of events so it's easier. Like what happened on this date? I know Richard Newton sort of has a thing like that. So March 3rd. Yeah, that makes sense because that was the day, the first day where a lot of the volume went off exchange, right? Pretty interesting. Kitty, what's up? Cheers. What's up, Tetron? Good job, bro. Thank you, Paolo. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it very much. Does everyone know when Cat Air is released for May 1st? I think we're just getting caught up. For non-GME question, when do you plan on staying in New Jersey for a while? Oh no, listen, I'm here and there with New Jersey, Jersey boy. So, and there's a chump. I remember we are in baskets. Yeah, no, that is true. I see the basket theory, but for me, like, I don't think that makes it worth holding AMC. Like, I still think it's worth reading about the basket stuff and seeing those custom basket swaps, but I would not invest in AMC because to me too, like my friend that keeps saying like, "Oh, GameStop's dead. Oh, you just go to any store, it's empty. It's so obvious. Like they're not going anywhere." I'm like, bro, one, read the numbers. Two, think whatever you like. But three, if I didn't believe in the management team, I wouldn't be in the stock. Like I wouldn't just be in it like hoping and praying. Like that's like the fact that the new management team came in, got rid of all the board members, completely fixed the balance sheet, cut costs, right? And people say, "Oh yeah, well they can't just cut costs forever." Yeah, no, I'm not saying that, but when you get to a spot where year over year you lose 650 million in revenue, but it allows you to swing 320 million dollars in the bottom line from a loss of negative $313 to gaining 6.7, that's very significant, right? And then also you look at SG&A, every quarter from 22 to 23, it dropped off, right? And then even already from 23 to 24, Q1 has dropped off significantly, right? So not saying declining revenues is ideal, but they're putting them themselves in a spot where they're going to turn a net profit, and then in turning a net profit, right, they can take their time and they have a ton of cash to ultimately make an acquisition and make a move. And again, I wouldn't be in GameStop if I didn't believe in the management team. Like, I can truly say that. And that's my problem with AMC. Like, sure, yeah, I'll read about it. It's interesting, and like, sure, you could trade it if you want, but for me, as they say out there, GME elitist. Yeah, and you know, that's just a silly term, by the way, too. And it's so dumb because it's like it doesn't make sense. You know, you could talk about other stocks, but it's like if you're just saying like it's dumb to me because most of the people pointing fingers, like, you're a GME elitist, are the ones that are holding AMC and saying like, oh yeah, like it's the same play, it's the same play. And it's like, no, well, look at what Adam Aaron's doing, look at Ryan Cohen's doing, and you start displaying the facts. Oh, GME elitist, right? But listen, at the end of the day, I'm not trying to get involved in drama, so you can always do what you want, and I truly, really like to be an advocate that everyone can make their own individual decisions. I really think that's so important. And by the balls, he would made them a ton of money. GameStop affected by diluting the day he was going live. But his last crypto post had the guy who sees the future as green light and diamond hands in his eyes. Listen, Tam, yeah, I see that perspective, but at the same time, I think they're looking at the longevity of the company. And if this happens every so often, who's to say it's not going to happen again, right? And the short sellers are the dumb stormtroopers of this investing galaxy, right? As Ryan Cohen said. And what that would imply, right, is that they're going to just keep betting against it, keep pushing it down. So just some food for thought there. Props to Keith for holding it together, not cracking under pressure. I'd be shaking with 600,000 people watching, including all Wall Street and mainstream media. Yeah, right. It's insane. I don't think I could do that, right? Like I've had some practice live streaming now, and I'm getting better. But if there was 600K of you in here, one, it'd be literally impossible to read the chat, and two, I don't know what I would do, right? It'd be crazy. It's like I would be like probably just pre-record it. That's what I was thinking too. Like he just slips up in one way slightly, and then all of a sudden you would have oh, he manipulated the market, right? He said he likes it because of this, or just I don't know. It's just like well, he had to walk on eggshells there. Put it to you that way. Twinfo said that GameStop Ryan Cohen did it on purpose to keep them from getting too much control of the company. Damn, yeah, I've also seen that too. But also, you know, there's the other theory, and again, just since talking about theories here, that just to say in the future, like, hey, look, we didn't orchestrate a squeeze of the stock. How could we have done that if we issued shares into the open market, right? I don't think I think he sold and bought shares, or maybe a mixture of the two. I'd rather be skiing. You could be right. I didn't do the exact math, and I saw that idea thrown around as well. So, not too sure. You were so much smarter. Thank you, Charmer. Appreciate that. This should not smarter than Roy Kitty. I wouldn't say that if that's what you're saying, but I think you're just giving me comments. So thank you. I appreciate that. This sort of play on GME never accounted for by big buy-ins like Ryan Cohen and DFEs, but it's supposed to dry out dead. Exactly. Yes. It'll just be a long, slow, painful death, like a lot of other companies before it. And you know, some of the other companies that have had something similar as to what happened with GameStop in terms of aggressive shorting, private equity involved in the board, and just private equity being involved, and just certain bad actors driving the company into the ground, shorting it, financial media putting out negative headlines. Toys R Us, for example, right? It's not to say that things were all fine and dandy. Like I would have to look back at their financial filings, right? I'm sure they're out there somewhere. But there was no chance of them turning around when it's a situation where you have people running the company making poor decisions, overspending, and then on top of it, you have the financial media just absolutely trashing on it. And then you also have heavy short selling pressure. So you have all those things combined, and it's really hard to turn around a struggling business. If you at least take out the bad actors, right? Who's to say what could have happened? What could have been? Maybe Toys R Us could still be around today, right? Like, while I think some of this stuff happened with Blockbuster, I think it would have been very, very hard for them to turn around their business. I think likely they probably would have went bankrupt, but I think it was accelerated the process, right? Whereas Toys R Us, maybe they could have figured it out, right? Maybe they could have turned it around. Maybe there was something different they could have did. But the reality of it is, it was still like in a tough spot. So it could have been, you know, it was a spiral, but it just got pushed down faster, if that kind of makes sense, right? So it depends on the scenario, but GameStop's not the first company that this type of thing has happened to before. So myself, oh no, you're good, Charm. Listen, it's all learning experience. It's literally all learning experience. You got to keep learning, keep improving. Like, I'm not here to say, oh, I know all this, I'm the GME expert because I've held the stock for several years. No, I'm just learning and talking about it like everyone else, but just doing it in the form of video. He suddenly calls to increase his cash, doing his paperwork for the next run. Certainly possible, dear SGME. I wouldn't say it's impossible, right? He's a very smart guy. So, let's see, 50K to 270 million. Pretty genius. Yeah, exactly. Listen, it's absolutely insane what he's done. It's truly epic. And anyone else, right? Any other stock it would be happening for if someone did this. Oh, greatest retail investor of our generation. But what does the media do? Just dump on him, right? I think that's very telling. He's selling calls. 50K to 270 million is insane. And remember those keychain VMUs? We could use another revolution. I do not wear a shirt. I can't say I do. Do you ever plan on making a documentary on your local GameStop, asking them customers how great GME is? Because I can. I don't, but it's funny you say that about documentary. I was talking to my brother. I was like, maybe I should create a documentary of some kind, like just trying to highlight like why there's people who are still interested in GameStop. Of course, I can't speak for everyone else, but just kind of like a 20 or 30-minute thing where it's like documentary style, like explaining from 2020 to now, and then leave it open ended as to what will happen next. So not exactly, but I actually just recently thought of that, and obviously that's going to take a lot of time, but we'll see. Something seems so obvious and telegraphed, you just expect the opposite of it. It's very true. That's the beauty of this current situation too. Nobody knows what's really going to happen or when. Exactly, Ryan. Well said. Only post to turn on. Hey, Charmy, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. By the way, guys, I'm gonna be streaming next week. Probably Monday, Wednesday. Actually, if the Stanley Cup Final goes to Game 7 Monday, like if the Oilers take it to Game 7 on Monday or on Friday, they force a Game 7, it would be on Monday. So either do an early stream Monday, or I don't know. Follow me on X at TetronInvest because I'm going to tweet it out next week, right? I have to see. I'm generally trying to do Monday, Wednesday, but maybe I'll just do it earlier. I'm going to try and do a lot of streams next week, though, because the following 2 weeks, I'm going to be away. So, with that being said, I do want to do a bunch of streams next week, right? But I have a feeling, I just have a feeling, guys, and this wouldn't be a bad thing, that GameStop is, like, some craziness is going to be going on with GameStop. The week that I'm away, or the 2 weeks that I'm away, and I won't be able to, I won't have my laptop, right? Or maybe I'll have my laptop, I don't know, but I don't know what the Wi-Fi situation is going to be like. So I don't know if I'll be able, and also I'm going to be on vacation. I'm going to a wedding with my girlfriend. I can't be streaming too crazy, but if things are really crazy, always got my phone. What up, guys? Quick live stream, right? So, yeah, so if you can look out that, that's a couple weeks from now. So next week, I'm still here, still in the States. So I'll be stream as much as I can, but it's every week I try and tweet out like a live stream schedule. This week, the second one was to be determined. I had a little busy mid part of the week here, so yeah. When everyone accepts up, it will go down. Devin, it's a fair point. When everyone's thinking things will go one way, it tends to go the other, right? So always expect the unexpected. June 7th seems to be the next error day. Yeah, interesting. Been holding 3+ years. I just adding along the way. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. GME is Ryan Cohen. Very fair points. Very fair points. And pretty much the same. I was just dollar cost averaging for the last few years consistently. Hopefully we can all sell GME the next round up 50 to 60. Hey, Immortal, listen, if that's what you want to do as a trader, you're more than welcome to. Everyone's got their own approach. For me, I'm not selling a 50 or 60. That's not very enticing to me. And again, that's just me personally. Please don't listen to me. Do what's best for you. Make your own personal decisions. But, I could have sold 50 or 60 right here. I could have been near that price here, but I didn't hold all this time just for 50 or 60. That's me at least, right? I get it. If you want to trade it, sure. Totally fine. But I think as a long-term holder, honestly, 50 or 60 isn't enticing. Bought AMC because it's cheap. Winnable. Listen, I appreciate you being here, but they're not the same, brother. That's all I can say. They're not the same. Adam Aaron has really padded his own pockets. They really haven't cut costs, and they've just really screwed over their shareholders, in my opinion. So sure, maybe you can make a quick trade on it, but if you're not aware, like I don't know how experienced you are, but just because it's like a cheaper stock price than GameStop, like it's so much deeper than that, bro. I promise. And I encourage you to just read more and more and learn more and more. But then again, maybe you're just a trader. Maybe you know a decent amount more about trading than I do. I don't know, and you're just seeing a particular trend or whatever the case. But I'm not an AMC guy. I got to be honest. I just don't believe in how they act. But the numbers are for the whole stock market, by the way. Yeah, no, Charmy, you are correct. I should absolutely clarify that. Those error numbers are for the whole stock market, but it's very interesting in the ways that it correlates to GameStop. Just got here. Can I get a summary where we're at? Multi-cool dude. Thank you so much for being here. All right, let me see if I can summarize this super, super quick. So basically, the CAT system came out, the data comes out, there's a lot of errors within the data, right? Every so often, and it's for stock markets as a whole. And I would encourage you to read this. Shout out user/regional-formal. All of you guys should go read this again, and I'm going to read it again. It's very interesting. Where a lot of the trades are suddenly late, and then it's total error count, and then it's a large percentage of all the trades. So, and it interestingly correlates with GameStop. And again, it's not for sure, but it's just very interesting the coincidence that every single time it could generally correlate to about when GameStop runs, the amount of errors that are taking place within it, right? So that's the summary of that. And then touch on Berkshire a little bit. How ever since the June 3rd glitch or whatever you want to call it, all of a sudden off-exchange volume is dropping after several years of it being nearly 90%, 95+%, right? It was like 99 consistently every single day before that one single day. And then also volume was rising on Berkshire, and then suddenly it dropped off. Again, just food for thought there. So yeah, and hey, I've been talking about a lot here, so feel free to go back because I am about to wrap it up. AMC's intrinsic value is -8 per share. Hey, dear SGME, your words, not mine. But listen, they have a ton of debt coming up due alone. So thank you for covering it. Hey, Charmy, listen, I'm trying. Again, I appreciate you being. I'm trying to cover it as accurately as possible because the reality of it is financial media is not accurately going to cover it. So it is what it is. Trust bro, we're going game 7. Hey, I want to see game 7, bro. I'm going to the bar with my friends tomorrow night. Actually, my coworker and my old coworker, I haven't seen in months, so it's gonna be cool to catch up with them. And I was like, perfect. Let's watch the game, have some food, have a couple brews, some good vibes with the boys. So it's crazy how much patience you have for the popcorn guys after all these years. LOL. Yeah, Ryan. No, listen, I think it's more like I just don't care anymore. Like, if you really want to believe in the super secret triple mega quadra butterfly secret merger of this and that, sure, I'll believe it when I see it. That's all I could say, right? And then with the AMC, oh, they're the same play. All you got to do is look at them on a long-term basis, and unfortunately, like, they're just not. And in my oh so humble opinion, there's only a category of meme stocks. And I'm not the first to say this, but there's only a category of meme stocks that has been created and established and like widely now accepted by the world. Oh yeah, that's a meme stock. Put it in the meme stock industry, right? Like, it's almost like its own industry, right? Not exactly, but or category. And that never ever would have been a thing if it wasn't for GameStop becoming a relevant thing, in my opinion, right? But also, again, I don't know. I just feel like I'm at a point now. It's where I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's gonna be chill, and like everyone's gonna think what they're gonna think, right? I guess I'm just like, it's just like, what do they say, like water off your back, or like, I don't know. Like, I just, whatever. People are gonna come and say whatever they're gonna say. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm just so like immune to it. Like, I'm just like okay, sure, sure. But at the end of the day, no, I think nobody ever knows what's gonna happen in the short term, right? So I just like GameStop. That's just me. I'm just gonna talk about it, and yeah, been enjoying covering this journey. It's so awesome, like meeting so many of you guys out there and gals, and also just learning. I've learned so much along this whole way. I think so many of you are learning. You guys throw stuff in the chat. I learn things. I hope some of the things I share and break down like helps you learn things and encourages you to go read other information and find out more. So yeah, just gonna keep rocking and rolling. But I think we'll leave it here for today. Again, I appreciate you guys oh so much. And yeah, viva la GameStop. Long live the GameStop, right? So continue to see what happens. This journey's so far from over. I just love it. I've just truly learned to love it, man. I've just really learned to love it. So see you soon, Tetron. Thank you, teacher. Take care. What's your personal price per share expectation? Carlton, a wise man said, only up, right? And as a long-term investor, and just seeing where this ship ultimately goes, I don't truly have one at this particular time, because until I see them make significant moves, I'm just not even going to worry about it at this particular time. And again, that's because I'm a long-term investor. I'm ready to hold for however long. And after I've held all this time, I'm going to hold longer, right? And that's just me. But yeah, that's why I don't have like a technical price point. But Butterfly will come out of the cocoon and revive all the shares that disappear. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's crazy. And listen, that's the thing too. I'll say one last point before I do wrap up here. Everything you read on X, or even like certain other Reddits, right? Like Supersonic's pretty good, but even then, like, you should take everything with a grain of salt, And then if you're like, okay, this is interesting, read about it more, right? And by the way, I'm not going to show this list, but if you're on my GME elitist list, you should be proud. Very select few on there, right? But, and I love just making like the fun names. By the way, guys, use, if you don't already, use lists on Twitter. It makes your experience so much better, right? Okay, I don't know what this is, but so you got memes, I got big finance account, misc accounts, I have hockey, football, so whatever I want to see, right? Like I add to that. And then if I see another account that talks about like football, right? And football season's coming up, I'm starting to add accounts to the football one. So when I want to go on my feed, see what's going on in football, like I'm a Steelers fan, so I got a lot of Steelers stuff in there. Then I go ahead and add it to that list. It makes the X experience way better, guys. But also, in general, when you read stuff on there, like try your best to fact check it, look into it. Like if it's just some kind of theory, take it with a grain of salt. You know, don't always just like, oh my gosh, right? Like there's so much crazy information out there. There's a lot of people who post some really great stuff, don't get me wrong. But there's also like a lot of things I come across sometimes. I'm like, what the heck? Like this is wild, right? And that's not just with GameStop. That's with anything in general with finance, numbers, anything. So, all right. Cheers. We'll have a brewski one day. Yes, Ryan. Yes, sir. I'll keep that in mind. I got you guys. One day, the post MOS party, as they say, right? But nah, just playing. But again, of course, no financial advice. Only personal thoughts and opinions on here. Just documenting my journey, trying to help everyone learn the best they can about various things in finance and stocks and just market mechanics as I learn along the way as well, and just documenting my journey, see how I evolve over time as an individual investor. And you know, like you gotta be like a Pokemon. You gotta keep evolving as a individual investor. There's always more to learn. There's always more to learn. And those of you that may be newer to the stream, um, I always say I'm gonna go, and then I talk for like 20,000 more minutes. So let me actually wrap it up here though, because I'm pretty hungry, getting tired. So yeah, one last thing I'll say: go Oilers, Ryan. I know you're rooting for the Oilers, brother. So let's go Oilers. Let's see Connor McDavid put up like 5 points, tie Gretzky's record for playoff points, and then break it on Monday in Game 7 and create the most epic comeback in Stanley Cup Finals history. There's only been one other team that's come back and from being down 3-0 that won the next 4 games. And that was like the 1940 Maple Leafs, right? Like that was a gazillion years ago. So this would be truly epic if Edmonton completes the reverse sweep. It's a long way to go, but man, I love hockey, so I'm so excited to watch the game tomorrow. Hope it's a good one. My prediction, I'm going to go with the same as last game, even though I was wrong. Overtime, Evan Bouchard game winner. Game winner. That's my prediction. So, all right, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.